Bienvenue, konnichiwa. It's time for the Amish Inquisition, episode 420 on Sunday the 19th of April 2026. I'm Phil.
I'm Ben.
And so we're very happy to be joined by UFO researcher Steve Mera. Are you there, Steve?
Hey.
Are you reading us?
Hi, guys. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. Good to be here.
Well,
Welcome.
we're
Thanks
very
for coming.
grateful. We're very grateful when anyone says they'll come, aren't we?
Absolutely, we are, yeah.
We're very grateful for people donating the time and are willing to share the knowledge and, in your case, decades of research, right, into this topic.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I know. I have. Started off with brown hair.
Is it enough to send you grey looking into this topic?
Well, I wouldn't have thought so when I was younger, but as time went on, yeah, absolutely.
I imagine it can get quite hairy at times. Are you? I don't know.
It's not so much about the experiences that I've had that I kind of understand, because I've been an experiencer since a child. But it's through the experiments and the revelations of the conclusions, the things we witnessed, experienced. Yeah, that'll do it.
Have you ever taken part in CE5 experiments?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I know that's something that's quite popular in North America.
It's popular in a lot of places, actually.
But,
right. No, because there's no protocol. There's no safety protocols, and it's not something I would actually, I guess, advise people to do. To be honest with you, knowing what I know, but it's a learning curve for many people. I mean, it's exciting for people. It was exciting for me, but when you dig your heels in, you go deep into this subject, you start to realize what this phenomenon's capabilities are and how it intrudes into your life, how the, psychological and physiological things that can happen through experience, through conscious connection with the phenomena. I learned that it's probably best left alone, and that's about the best advice I can give to people, because you go into it blindly, and I get it. It's exciting, to experience something like this. But once, twice, 3 times, you could probably get away with it. After that, it's going to get its meat hooked into you, and then it starts to become very, very unpleasant.
I'll just wake up the chat. If you've got any questions, people who are watching live on YouTube or Twitch, fire them in the chat, and time permitting, we'll ask them to Steve. So going on to the actual experiences, is that how you got into this subject? Was it a personal experience that led you down this path?
Well, I had my first experience. I was at 7 years of age. I didn't, phenomena came knocking on my door, not the other way around. But that, what I refer to as that initiated experience, opened up the floodgates, and it never stopped. And I was told as a teen, "Oh, don't worry, it'll disappear when you get, your metabolism changes, chemistry, start getting interested in girls, etc." No, it didn't, and it's just as prominent today. I've become numb to it, and it's horrific. It really is. And believe me, I've been through it all, thought I was going crazy, almost breakdowns because of it. It's been a nightmare, but I twisted it around, I made it to my advantage, because it gave me the option to scientifically and vigorously investigate phenomena because it was happening to me so frequently. And then it kind of got into some of the experiments, specialized study programs, and then into think tanks. And you start to evolve, you start to realize, what this phenomena is truly, what it's capable of, what it consists of, the mechanisms, and purely the profoundness of its physicality, or should I say metaphysicality, in our world and what it can do. So there is certain protocols that we have to abide by during experiments. Of course, we didn't know at first. We went in there like a bull in a china shop, and we paid the price for it. And then we had to write. Then we realised we need protocols about dealing with this now. But we learned. You have to learn the hard way, like most people do. It's a very time-consuming process when you're doing it safely. I mean, hey, you can do it very quickly if you invoke the right ways, but it's not advised to use those methodologies.
That the terms you use there, like invoke, it kind of sounds like you're angling at more of a spiritual experience, or almost religious. It's not religious is the wrong word, but like a
Well, I understand.
non-human experience rather than alien.
You're right, Phil. You're right. I mean, it is. You'd have to literally drop it into this box of spiritualism and spirituality, and or ethereal or astral. You can call it what you will, really, but at the same time, there's two sides of the phenomenon, and this is why the terminology spiritual technology is coming to light now, because we're dealing with. You got to be first off. You've got to be able to wrap your head around that. Something spiritual, ethereal, or astral can be physical, and interaction can take place with that in a physical manner. If you can get your head around that, then you're halfway there, but some people just can't get their head around that, to be honest with you. I've seen people which have spent long time in certain careers just buckle up with some of this phenomena. And it can be very testing for sure, yeah. But it is, I would say, principally, yes, you would call it spiritual. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's the only one we've got to make it sort of, befitting to some degree.
Yeah, kind of a loaded term, that, isn't it? It's difficult to come up with the right one.
I don't think there is a right word, to be honest with you. But it's about the best we can sort of describe. It's partially spiritual, yes.
I mean, when it comes to like psychical powers being manifest in reality, I always just go to the placebo effect.
Oh yeah,
the power of the mind having physical effects on people, and in the material world.
Oh yeah, it's incredible how the psychological aspect of the human mind can deliver the physiological aspects to the human body. I mean, we know that from stigmata, for an example, if you believe in it enough. Well, the term, if the term is SISPM, self-induced spontaneous physical marking through the power of belief, it overrides the physicality of us, our bodies. So the psyche comes first, the psychological aspect of it. I mean, we put people under hypnosis, put 2p piece on their arm, told them it's hot and they blistered. So it can be done. So we've got to understand that, yes, something delivering phenomena to us in that way can cause physiological problems. But we're not just being, this is not just interacting with us in a spiritual manner. It's also interacting with us in a physical manner. It can do both, right. Either or both, and we've got to try and work out, where do physical marks come from on the body? Well, through experience, physical marks can be delivered to the body through, physical interaction, but it can also seemingly happen during the spiritual aspects of, being taken out of your body in an astral way, and then marks appearing on the body because of the duality, because of what's happened in the spiritual astral realm. And then those marks will appear, and they're usually subdermal, not dermal, but subdermal. They're underneath the skin and form. I've seen these quite a number of times.
Are you familiar with Terry Lovelace?
Yes.
Because one of the we had him on years ago, didn't we?
Ago, yeah.
And one of the most striking parts of his story. Well, I mean, there was loads of striking parts of his account, and we were saying only the other week about how sort of a credible witness he was.
Yeah.
But
Terry,
he did mention, because you talk about things being manifest physically, didn't he have some sort of like implant or something that he reported?
Well, yeah, he claimed that there was something. Yeah, I mean, I only talked with Terry about maybe a month ago.
All
It was
right.
last time we talked. We're in contact, and yeah, there are some profound things. You know, the thing is with these, we call them alien implants. And the thing is, from what we believe, is that they're apports. Now, you're going to get a bit mixed up now regarding poltergeist phenomena now, aren't you? Because now, when we say apports, people often think about poltergeist phenomena. But some of these objects are placed into the body in the same mechanism of materialization, the same mechanism, the apport. There's no scarring, there's no, being placed into the body. And sometimes they asport, they disappear, especially under investigation or relocate, or change its format to more of a genetics rather than something which is technological.
It's interesting you say that, Steve. Disappear under observation immediately gets me thinking about, quantum mechanics. And even before, when you were saying about spirituality and metaphysical, if you were to kind of swap those words out for quantum dynamics, quantum mechanics, I guess it's all in the same milieu, and it's all, not particularly fantastically explained science.
Well, you've got to be in it to know it. That's it, Ben. It's a tricky one, and it is all. You are right. It's all quantum mechanics, and I do work in that field, and I work with other people who are quantum physicists, and you got to wrap your head about it just intent alone. I mean, there is a mechanism in our reality that is intelligent, and it recognizes when it's going to receive conscious input from us, our perception. Of course, waveform collapsing and stuff. You were talking about the dual slit experiment and things. Even if you record it, it still collapses because the intelligence knows of that you're going to watch it, even if it's on a video. So it knows you can't beat the system. We're dealing with a structured reality. This is about the best I can deliver, or what I can say. It's if you want to call it a construct, a simulation, it is to some degree. Conscious is responsible for creating reality. We know that. We know that what we experience in life is constructed within the brain, and that can be manipulated. Phenomena is outside the box. We're in it, in a sense of speaking. So they can manipulate the reality that we're in. Not only that, we can manipulate anything within that reality. We've seen this on experiments, and it's a bit hard to wrap your head around the things you see and experience. But oh yeah, they can demonstrate some crafty, clever stuff, and you sat there, along with other physicists that's just scratching their heads and haven't got a clue where to begin with this. You're talking about the breaking of thermal dynamics, the law of thermodynamics. You're talking about quantum tunneling and lots of different other aspects. But it's all there. It's all part and parcel of phenomena. If we want to break it down and look at the mechanism, the paranormal mechanics, should we say?
The mechanism and the kind of control and the function of the operator and things like that are, it's going to be very strange sounding to a lot of people who listen to this podcast. But if you think about spontaneity as a random event and things just happening because they do, that for me is far more difficult to kind of get my head around. Something happens because it is not really, and as a scientist, I can't accept that.
No, I don't blame you. I mean, if you look at it enough, you'll realize there's a mechanism at play. I mean, there are reasons why certain things happen. It's guided. Your outcomes are guided. And phenomena knows. what future events are, and
Could
it knows how to make them different so that outcome changes.
could we be the operators, Steve? Though.
Well, I mean, we're dealing with a phenomenon which is it's age old. We might be the new kids on the block, to be honest with you. And we're dealing with something which could very easily, a bit tongue in cheek, this, but could very easily be misidentified as a god or God. It has godly abilities. In fact, we cannot find any difference in biblical scriptures in regarding miraculous phenomenon and the phenomenon. It's just what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to think? We are being now told that the archetypes, and there's over 6,000 different types now around about, which they utilize. It's an interface program, so this is why they have so many different faces and ways of interacting, because they just don't think that they have a method of being able, or a good way to interface with humanity. So therefore, they've learned to become a bit like bipedals, 2 arms, 2 legs, a nose, a mouth, when science says it's impossible. According to the planets that we see out there, micro changes on the planet causes massive difference in intelligent life, and yet they're all coming here with 2 arms, 2 legs. They can walk on Earth with gravity, our gravity. They can breathe our air. In some cases, they can eat our food. I wouldn't take them down to the chip shop and give them a vindaloo or something. I don't know. But at the end of the day, these reports, the physicality aspects of this is incredible. And you think, okay, there's no limitations.
So do you think
it doesn't matter?
Sorry, Steve. Do you think these entities are manifest as sort of, as we see them, multicellular, as you say, bipedal organisms, similar to something that is familiar? And could that, I mean, I'm thinking on a much smaller scale, could this be almost cellular, and it's almost within us? Because you can, obviously hallucinations are as a result of chemical imbalances, you could argue, or whatever, but they are real to the experiencer. So if that chemical balancing is controlled by a much smaller, again, I'm thinking super small, subcellular, or I don't know, I always think mitochondria are weird, and the fact that there's a lineage going back for all time, that's an ancient bit of what we now call ourselves as being humans. But could it be something like that, where it's almost, we're part of it, and it's part of our...
Oh, we're definitely part of it. Yeah, absolutely. And we're, without going too depth, we're born with it. We're in for a pound and a penny.
So it's not necessarily like, little green men.
Oh no, we're very much part of this. Very much part. We're starting to realize that on a genetic and cellular level now. We're starting to see the aspects of close interactions with phenomena and its physiological contamination on the human body because of that. And that contamination can be passed on genetically to children, so they're born experiences. We're getting to that point. We're almost putting the documents together to sort of this sort of effect. So what we can say is that it breaches every aspect, the physicality of our world. It leaves physical marks, leaves physical, traces on the ground. It's radar detectable when it chooses to be. See, we're dealing with all aspects of this phenomenon is metaphysical. In other words, it can choose to be physical or choose to be non-physical. And this is why we end up with UFOs going into water at 1,230 miles an hour and traveling at 1,230 miles an hour through the water with no inertia, no effects of the water on them. Specialized data systems which have been logged by, I can't tell you who they've been logged by, but there's specialized data that have been picking up some of these things, are picking up the traces, but there's nothing there in a physical sense, physical sense. They can go into the ground, into mountains, into hillsides. This is your quad capabilities, not trans. I mean, you can listen to Elizondo and they'll talk about trans. The thing is that they will never talk about quad. I mean, I brought this up with these think tanks, and they just said, look, we've got a lot of scientists who are on board helping. If we drop this onto their laps about the quad capabilities, they're going to scare them away. You know, these are physicists at the end of the day, because physicists cannot explain that. And this is why you got Eric Davis not too long ago talk about that during these specialized UAP programs, physicists aren't involved. Well, no, because you don't need a physicist. You know, there's no physics can explain it. So what's the point of having a physicist? You know, you would have to have other people associated with other aspects, maybe a parapsychologist, maybe, you know, a spiritualist, you know, and other scientific aspects to this rather than a physicist, because the physics doesn't apply. So yes, it breaches every aspect of our life. You know, to me, it's real. But what is real? You know, I mean, we can have an experience and think it's real, but my perception of that won't be different than anybody else's, which is what they've wanted. You know, the interaction of from what we have with these things in our environment. They can manipulate the environment so they can transition right through a wall or ceiling. They can even bilocate or individuals, which isn't a good thing, but it does happen.
I mean, reality is really, as I see it, is just a series of unique experiences that an individual has, and my reality is completely different to Phil's reality and your reality, and it's just a unique thing as far as I understand it. So I've never seen a UFO or had any experiences. So I also understand that, you know, and going back to what I've just said, the experience of others is completely different, and the way other people experience the world, and we've seen phenomena between certain groups of people, and, you know, this kind of links back to what other people kind of observe as psychic experiences and things like that. There are differences, and we've spoken to people in the past who've talked about being able to receive things and transmit downloads. Yeah. So if you're if you're switched on to these things, is what was, you know, explained to us on that particular episode. If you're switched on to those things, you can receive them. So not everyone can, but, you know, someone like yourself, Steve, I guess in that respect would be someone who's got, you know, all their antennas firing at full megahertz.
Well, you know what? I can tell you what we know, Ben. It acts like a bit like faith, really. You know, I mean, are you likely to see a religious apparition if you don't have belief in a religion? You know, now what we know is that when you introduce belief, and it shouldn't be, but it does, when you introduce belief to this conversation, that thus I will believe it even without the evidence, the phenomena can present itself. And it's like it knows, it wants to. Look, this phenomena seeks to be seen. It wants to be seen. Why do you think they're flying around at night with big bright lights on? Right? They do that on purpose because maybe more, I don't know, 60, 100, 3,000 people might see this thing up in the sky. Yeah. That conscious connection is established immediately because of the waveform collapse, it knows. And it'll consciously connect with individuals. That conscious connection causes you to drip into theta brainwave state and manipulative perception, for sure, which you shouldn't be doing in a waking state. You can check that through wearing flow bands now, which operate, and you put them on your head, and they monitor your brainwave activity during being out and about mobile. So experience, you can see the effects on the human brain and brainwave change to theta during and that happened as quick as 20 seconds. Could be faster, I don't know, but we've got it to 20 seconds. you lose your discernment. You know, what we do rely on is our fight and flight to tell us. Problem is, we're living in a poisonous world now where your fight or flight's considerably damaged. Where most people go out there looking at the sky, and what they do, they take chocolate bars and candy and Coca-Cola, fill themselves up with refined sugar, which cuts off your fight or flight. It's adrenal weakness it causes. So your bodies might be screaming at you, get the hell out of Dodge, and you like taking steps towards it. It's not a good situation that we live in. That, and including the air that we breathe is poisonous. We live in a radiation and contaminants all day long. The food we eat is not good. The packaging that the food's kept in is not good. We are chemically poisoned every day. And this is why our ancestors were super hyper, sort of hyper reactive regarding phenomena and energies and things like that. And we are dampened down, unfortunately, because of the world we live in. Phenomena utilizes that, it'll take advantage of it. You know, it knows our limitations of eyesight and hearing. It'll operate in the infrared and the ultraviolet. It operates in audible and infrasonics. You won't hear it, but you'll be affected to you or fear induced. But it seeks to be seen. It wants to be seen. You know, there's no covert about them, really, when you don't, I think we're covert about some of the stuff we might be flying around, but they're not. You know, they want the world to see them, and they don't care where they do it. And the thing is, when it locks with an individual, that individual can lose their discernment within 20 seconds. If you've lost your discernment for this phenomenon, I'll tell you now, they could do anything. You wouldn't have no chance of doing anything about it. You know, you will not have that control. Your cognitive limitations, you might have a camera in your hand, but you won't take a photo. Why not? Because what happens under the circumstances of the conscious connection when it's met is that you have your cognitive limitation. So you don't think. You won't think to take the photo. You won't think to run away. You won't think for yourself. The controlled mechanism takes place, and this is what they're capable of doing. And that's before they even infiltrate our homes. That's just if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that's what it can do. But we are learning more about it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Most of the time, they're just skirting through the sky, and yes, it might interact a little bit and then go on its way. But it always has the option to turn it on whenever it wants to engage.
One thing I've noticed, Steve, in the last 30 minutes, you've not mentioned spacecraft once. So I think a big distinction from sort of historic kind of thinking around UFOs is that they're spaceships and there's aliens inside them. Yeah. But what I'm hearing from you is the actual the object itself that is unexplained is part of these beings.
Metaphysical.
Yeah, the whole.
They are.
They're
metaphysical. I mean, they can be solid. I mean, look, some of these things have been gifted many times. Phenomena will do that because it wants to entice technology, supersede wherever technology, and we are. I mean, you won't believe how far we are.
Would Roswell fall under that category, Steve? Is it like gifting?
No, Roswell's a little bit different.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. But it wasn't simply them and us. It was kind of an our situation, right? From what I understand. Okay. But what we're dealing with is that it's the craft is not a vehicle to carry the phenomena. It is the phenomena. You get into the craft, I mean, there's lots of ruses out there about ripping these things apart and getting all the good tech and the wires and all sorts of things. Most of them don't have anything, to be honest with you. There's no controlling surfaces, no mechanisms, no flashy lights, no guidance system. Because when these things are gifted, which come down, land by a military base, which I can't say which one, left for almost 7 hours, and they get in there, there's nothing in it. There's nobody in it. There you go, it's yours. But we don't know what to do with it, really, because there's no buttons and switches and guidance systems and all sorts of things like that. Because the mechanism is the entities. That's part and parcel. It's just like cutting your arm off and giving it to somebody. It's part and parcel of it. But trying to wrap our ends around this is pretty indigestible, to be honest with you. It is hard work to get your head around it. And bringing somebody in on the information on this is like, what do you do with it? It's like, well, okay, but if you do the research, you'll find enough clues to, that the people are they want to say. I know people in these think tanks and they can't. And I get it. But they want to, so they leave little breadcrumbs and clues sometimes in certain statements, which they throw out every now and again.
You mentioned about them, for want of a better word, and us being sort of linked, intrinsically linked. And you mentioned about them sort of giving gifts and maybe directing us technologically. Yeah. Do you think that all these entities are benign and working in our favor? Are there different factions going on? Is there good guys and bad guys? Can you make any sense of that?
Well, yeah, I can. The thing is that there are some people out there which will purposely go down that path, want you to believe that they'll be dealing with a galactic federation and council of aliens and all different ones from all these different worlds, and they all mean well and all care. And be honest with you, I just think that's a load of crap, all of it. And I can tell you, because through the research and through the investigations, and even when the archetype is changed before the very eyes of the individual because it doesn't fit with their acceptance, we know we're dealing with archetypes. We know that, they're highly deceptive, and, we've got so many different planets now, thousands of different planets. Oh, yes, we come from here, we come from there. One in 1979, was a large being was walking down the road next to a busy road. 3 or 4 people saw this, pulled over. He was about 7 foot tall, had pink eyes and a grey uniform which shrouded over their head. And he said, I'm from Garnus Van. The man from Garnus Van. Clearly did not look human, but that's added to the list amongst thousands of others. I mean, if you want to do the Betty and Barney Hill incident, people go on about, oh, well, the Greys turned up in 61 on September with Betty and Barney Hill. Well, no, they didn't. They weren't Greys. They were slightly Oriental looking, small as Greys, but wearing uniforms very much like a human might wear, like a military uniform, and caps to go with it. And apparently showed a star sign. And that some guy then thought, oh, yes, it looks like Zeta Reticuli, and hence they became the Zeta Reticulans. That data is absolutely, completely inconsistent. It's just, it was looks nothing like, that the location of Zeta Reticuli 1 or 2. But wasn't long afterwards when the Grey even said themselves, oh, we're from Zeta Reticuli. With Zeta Greys, things like that. And people have said they've said this. Well, of course they will, because we've given the narrative. The problem is that when you first said, oh, yes, I think early on, there were even some references that they were on the moon. Of course, we've been to the moon, and there's no big civilizations and cities there that we know of, certainly active ones now. And then it was like, oh, well, we're Venusians and come from Venus. But when we sent probes to Venus, it's very hot, very poisonous. We didn't see any life really there, as far as we know. But the story changed. We're from Mars. Well, we sent probes to Mars. Yes, we might get a few little bits and bobs now and again, seeing something. Certainly, Mars is a place where it's had certainly some form of mid-ancient civilization. But we're not seeing currently, intelligent life there. And now it's going further out. Oh, it's this planet, and then Andromeda, and it's going further out and out and out. Where are they coming from? Scientists in 1969, when we started getting into the NASA's science space exploration, not only did they get to the Brookings Institute to do a report saying, what do we do if we see life or experience extraterrestrial life? Brookings Institute said, well, probably best not to tell us. And the second paragraph was basically saying, but you're going to have to educate the public to a point, and when that day comes. So I get that. But they got some of the best scientists in the world And they said, what's life going to look like? How are we going to, how should we experience it? And he said, well, according to the range of what we see out there with planets, any form of life is, he might even be inconceivable, what you might not even know or recognize it to be. But they all seem to have the same type of abilities and crafts and all say the same thing. We're here to save planet Earth, yet never do anything. They're here to save us, but yet we kill each other by the day. Thousands, if not more, over the years in battles and skirmishes. They like to watch skirmishes, battles, wars, and guarantees if there's any war going on, although the stuff that's been going on in Iraq, oh yeah, they're up there, being filmed by the news companies, as they did in the Gulf War. They like to watch. They like the skirmishes. They like the battles, but they don't interrupt. They don't intervene unless it's something for themselves. So they're not here for us. They're not here for the planet. Then what are they here for? It seems like they have a long association with our planet. Some have even suggested that these ultra-terrestrials, stroke crypto-terrestrial type creatures, they've seen coming out of the ground. They've interacted in pretty much every single way. But then if we take it to different countries, it looks different. But the phenomena never changes. The mask is always changing. But the phenomena doesn't change. So don't track the phenomena as mask. Don't track the archetypes. Track what the phenomena consists of, and you'll see a consistent pattern forming. The same as the Fae in Ireland. No different than flying baskets, small winged beings or whatever. No different. To Scandinavia and Norway, the same things are there, but look different, but act exactly the same way. These are all interfaces dealing with what people might expect them to be. And sometimes when you experience them as a child and it's nice little teddy walking towards you, it's not a little teddy, I assure you, but that's the best way you can sort of do it with a child. Mm-hmm. When they come to visit 15 years later as a teddy, it's not going to work. And it doesn't. So the archetype suddenly changes before their very eyes from the teddy to something else. And this has been seen hundreds and hundreds of times. People reported the archetype is changing. It's changing itself always. In the 80s, we said, the Greys were the bad guys, the Nordics are the good guys. Well, what happens when you see them together, like Travis Walton? Hang on a second, they must be working together. Really? Do you not think those small three little beings had an absolute dicky fit when Travis grabbed hold of something and started swinging around at them? The physicality of these beings are next to nothing. So they rushed out the room, and the only way to get him off that ship, well, maybe it was to actually, I'm like you. I look like you. I'm going here to help you. And they got that mask on him and got him off the ship. They couldn't get him off fast enough. They dropped him off at a side road with hardly any clothing on, to be honest with you. But, dump him. Couldn't even take him back to where they took him from. So, yeah, I mean, the problem is that when people have experiences, we are driven to believe the experience. But we now know through hypnosis, this is why we have a no hypnosis policy now. And we tell people, do not have regressive hypnosis. Because they might say, I had a euphoric experience, a lovely experience. They're really nice. I want to learn out more. I want to see if there's more to remember. But when you go and have hypnosis, some people have had some absolutely terrible, horrific experiences. And they've opened that door, bless them. They shouldn't have done. Because they were happy to live with this until they went and had that. And they realised, no. And the pain they were under was ridiculous. And I won't mind, but in 1988, when the first incident like this happened, and documented well, even the doctors at the hospitals in 1988 could have performed exactly the same procedure with little discomfort. Oh no, they're not bothered about that. And the thing is that after about 45, an hour and 45 minutes after an alien abduction case, their chemical analysis was done on the individuals, and their endorphins were flooded hugely.
Wow.
Well, what's
artificially.
that going to cause? Artificially, and which means basically you're going to be like, oh, this is amazing. Your euphoric experiences, that's where it is. It's all chemical reactions. So at the end of the day, they're very deceptive about what they do. and their interactions are very deceptive, you know. So, and there's lots of stories, well-known cases that we know, and the deception aspect of it is taken out because they didn't want it to put it out. But it's out. You know, there are things coming out. I mean, even when I talk with, when I was last over with David Jacobs, was about 3 years ago, when we were talking, you know, the subject of alien abduction books are probably the most edited. You can't put, you know, I mean, because really, people don't want to read some of the stuff that should be in them. So they get a different view of it. And this is the problem. Now the phenomenon is evolving. You know, it evolves and it introduces other aspects, even if it's your cryptids, even if it's your paranormal or supernatural. The light phenomena that we see in the sky is no different in outputtage. The wattage output from them is tremendous, just as it is with the small light phenomena you'll see in haunted or high poltergeist type cases, traumatic cases. You've got the light phenomena taking place in the house. It's just a different scale, just a different size. Really, it acts exactly the same, morphs, clusters, duplicates, transitions through materialism and dematerialism. You know, it does that in the sky. You know, I talk with people who are from the Middle East, and everything, when they see the lights in the sky and all that, it's just jinn to them. It's all jinn. It's smokeless fire. That's what we're seeing in the sky. You know, most of the time. Sometimes we'll get structured craft. In many cases, sometimes the structured craft are preceded or afterwards by balls of light or seen at the time. In some cases, those balls of light are drifting in and out of our reality. They're there, they're gone. They're there, they're gone. And that's how they're picking up on radar. I mean, even pilots have seen UFOs and said, you know, communicated down to the control towers and said, have you got this on radar? And they're saying, yeah, we've got it. We can see it. And then minutes later, oh, they're reporting, no, it's not. It's not there. It's not on radar now. Has it disappeared? And the pilot says, no, I'm looking at it.
Wow.
No, they just switched the switch to, you know, the metaphysical. And this is one of the biggest problems, you know, is trying to wrap your head around these parascience, you could say, or physicalities. It's pretty hard going because we are very in the rule of physical is physical, non-physical is non-physical. But we've been involved in the experiments. We've seen what they can do, and we're not the only ones. Skull did it. Lawrence Livermore laboratories have done the same thing. The phenomena under communication is taken a physical item in the environment and made it non-physical. You can still see it. You can fire a beam of light at it, and it will reflect. You can cast shadow from it, but he can't pick it up. You get a very, very faint film around your fingers, as you do, and you won't feel anything. There's no unusualities in radiation or spikes in EMF. And then until it transitions back. It's a demonstration by them to say, look, we can take anything in your environment and we can manipulate it, and you will not know.
How do you set up an experiment like that?
Okay. Well, take it first off, there's a routine. You've got to establish connection with NHI. The process
That's
to do that.
Non-human intelligence, right?
Yes. Yeah, non-human intelligence. Yeah. The first process of doing that is considering the methods of doing so. Though that you can use ritual magic, but it's not advisable, you know. But it gets there. It takes you 2 days, ritual magic. Wow. And it's a lot easier now than it was 20 years ago, which tells me something. You know, there's a reason for that. But it's not advisable. It's like banging at the door. They don't like that. And it's not advisable. And it's not a safe method. So, first off, you've got to create your circle, your church, in a sense of speaking. Look, we've done some things with rituals and just to prove it. And yeah, it does. Enochian's the hardest, creating your own church. And it takes ages of Enochian. But it does work. But there are other methods, several other methods, which is basically the same thing, really, but just done different ways and saying different ways. But it grabs their attention. For sure, it does work. But the safe way is to do it through seance. So you end up with a controlled seance. It took us 2 years to put that together. We didn't pick the people, the phenomena did. So what we do is we open up to the general public. First stage is open to the public, then it goes sensitive afterwards. And then what we're doing is we're measuring feedback results. How good was it successful? And that's a lot of data forms, and they get filled out and they're scoring marks and stuff like that. And then we end up switching people around and seeing on the data if it fluctuates, gets better or gets worse with that individual involved. I mean, we want the scientists, we want skeptics, we want all these people there. But we're not in control. The phenomenon's in control. And after reaching a certain level, which we thought, okay, well, we keep doing it and we're not getting past this. This is the highest level we've reached. We realized that the 12 people that are involved were all believers and all experiencers.
Wow.
And that's not down to us. That's down to them. So they prefer that. Then you have to go through your normal spiritual process. There are 3: invocation, incarnation, and there was a number of processes. I'm not going to get into them because some people can go out there, it's like a bull in a china shop, and it can take a bit of a dark turn on them. So, but if you do it right, you end up with your spiritual phenomena taking place. Okay. Well, after that, you've got to push through to the point where you end up with what is kind of referred to as the poltergeist type stuff. But with the poltergeist type stuff taking place in the environment, you've got to completely ignore it as if it doesn't exist. Even if things are happening next to you, just do not focus on it. Nothing, ignore it. Eventually, by request, you don't ask for aliens and you don't ask for things like that. You just basically want to communicate with things not of our realm or reality. And then you persistently just keep doing it, persistently, and then one day you get a bite. And then when you do get the bite, you latch onto it. And then and then what happens once NHI communication starts, it's usually through recordings and then to DVP, direct voice phenomena. It's always above you as well. If you stand up, it's above you. You sit down, it's above you. You can't really say for where it's coming from because it's pretty much surround sound in a sense. You can't really point it where it is, but it's up there. It's neither male, it's neither female. It's got a little electronic twang to it, but then they don't have voice boxes, so I guess that's probably right. And we open up communications. Now, at that stage, you've lost control of the seance. You can't shut it down. It's open. They're in control. And the thing is, once you go back to that experiment, doesn't matter how long, it's like a phone off the hook. They're there straight away. You don't have to build once it's in their control. And then your communication is with them. You're dealing with them, not anything else superseded. But then it's open to them. The problem with doing that is that it's very easy to have manifestation, very easy to have object manipulation, physiological and psychological affections. The problem is with doing this is that it becomes very exciting and you get hooked in. And before you know it, you're doing it, you've overindulged yourself and you're in trouble. Steve, you take it home. And that can be a problem for all the people that's involved.
Steve, yes. Is your phone off the hook now? Do you have any open experiments now that you can just, pick up yes. the receiver and...
Yes. One.
Good week. I
mean, we've had 17 experiments.
Could you ask them how they like podcasts?
Well, the thing is, it's great when you say things because we all sat around there because we asked at our next session, can we ask 10 questions? Would you be prepared to give us the answers? And they didn't say, yes, they'd give us the answers. They just said, we're happy for you to ask the 10 questions. So, of course, you imagine me, I come sit down with you and Phil, and we sit there and say, okay, guys, what's the 10 questions? And I tell you what, when you realize you might get the answers, you really do put a bit of thought into these questions. And you don't want to mess it up. And you're trying your best to, but hey, they're miles ahead of us. and they're very, very tricky, and very deceptive. And sometimes their answers give you just like, wow, that's like another 100 questions there now. So we go around and we deliver like what we think. This was at a specialized meeting, and said, right, okay, let's look at. So one guy says to me, I've got a question. Ask him if there's any aliens at Area 51. I said, well, how will you know what the answer is? Don't ask him that. Because you can't ask them something. How do we know we got to ask them some things where it's got a little bit more sense to it. So we did pose the 10 questions. And of course, one of those, we're going to get some questions like, do we go to heaven when we die? Is there heaven we go to? Because there's a lot of talk about that. That's probably one of the top questions, So we go back to the session, and we communicate. We ask if we can we ask these questions, and we are told we can answer the questions. And out of the round about the corner, top edge of the room, came 10 answers. We hadn't even posed the questions. Now, there's only two ways of doing that. They infiltrated the meeting, which was at a different location where we were devising the questions, or they obtained them from us, which is in our heads, the knowledge. But when you actually break it up, you can say, okay, you can look down the list 1 to 10, you can break it up in the answers, right? Because the first thing it said was, for those that make it, and then it said 11. And then it said, and it's answering questions we asked. The first question was, is there a heaven? The response was, for those that make it. How many currently dimensions are there that we're aware of? 11.
Wow.
And we were going through, but they gave the results before we gave the questions. So
do you know what I would do if I were these entities, Steve? I would do that old Two Ronnie sketch, and I'd answer the last question that you asked.
Yeah.
Just to troll you.
It is intriguing, though. I mean, when you think, wow, it's interesting this, and we got to the experiments. Went to the point where we were told where we were going to be on the day, 19 months time, and they were right. And this has happened 3 times. On the second and third time, we tried to evade it of the information, but we couldn't. Right. So I don't think that the steering, because I still think we've got free will, but I just think that they're just looking ahead and saying, we know where you are in 90 months' time. Now, I don't know how far into the future they can do that, but I do know that through initiated experiences, that they might turn up in a bedroom, and there's a young lad there at 7 years of age, and he will go through this initiated experience because they might know in 20 years' time he's wrote 19 books. He's talking to 5,000 people internationally about them. He's appeared on television shows and things. They would know that. So there might be a means and a method to what they want, because this phenomena, like religion, wants its flock. Wants the people to believe in it, because the more people that believe in it, the more people it can connect with and you'll experience with.
Do you know,
it's kind of an ongoing thing.
If they're aware of 11 dimensions,
well, at the time, we're more now.
Maybe if they're a 4th or 5th dimensional creature, then time is kind of it's not linear to them.
I don't think
it's just a
time and space. No.
I don't. I'm one of these Uspensky nerds. Like, I think time is like the ever expanding now. It's a limit in our conscious brain that lets us perceive time as one instant happening after another. But if these beings are a dimension ahead in their evolution, then they will be able to see our future and past simultaneously.
So what are we dealing with then, Phil? I mean, look, are these aliens coming from another planet? Very unlikely. In fact, NASA did an investigation, and they concluded, well, we might know about UFOs being seen and stuff like that, reports and films and videos, but we're not seeing enough evidence to say that they're extraterrestrial. There's no superhighway going backwards and forwards on Earth. On the last survey that was carried out, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, considering we can't take every country into consideration because not all of them collect data, and not all of them that do collect data share that data. But out of the ones that do, we can probably say that we see a UFO is reported or seen between every 8 and 15 seconds on a 24-hour basis in the world. So, how many hundreds of thousands are seen on a daily basis? Where are they coming from? There's not a super highway of traffic backwards and forwards from Earth because they're here. They're already here. They always have been here. But back then, you know, we had to come up with some idea and say, well, what do we say? Well, they're extraterrestrial. But now the narrative is shifting. They're not calling them ETs anymore, extraterrestrials. They're calling them interdimensional. You know, the narratives are changing even at the Pentagon level. They're not talking about extraterrestrials anymore. You know, they're not saying ETs, they're saying NHI. They're not saying UFO, saying UAP, because not just structured craft, consists of many different things.
Right,
You know?
that's such an I didn't even never twig that. But
Did you not realise?
when we were growing up watching the X-Files, it was unidentified flying object.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're talking about phenomena, which
UAP,
which allows for
now,
physical,
UAP
non-physical, doesn't it?
consists of a lot of different things.
Wow.
Yeah, see, it's everything and above. I mean, look, the likelihood is when we get together and we start doing this research, and my good friend Nathaniel Gillis, I don't know if you've ever talked with him, but incredible guy, yeah. The true face of this phenomenon might be the ball of light. It supersedes everything, even the UFO constructs. These are physiological constructs. You know, it's like that's the predecessor to manifestation. It's the predecessor to Fatima, you know, the miracle of the sun.
Yeah, I've a
You know,
lot of
all sorts of different things. This could, but then how do you interface with something like that? Where it creates something for you to interface with. You know, the physiological constructs aren't just the phenomena of the masks, the archetypes, but also the so-called appearance of the crafts.
I've a lot of sympathy for like Andrew Collins and his work on plasma being like the fourth state of matter, and that this is maybe the sort of mechanism that they can exist in, which is just
well. Do you know, if we read, I read something out about it was about 2 pages long, and it was about a week ago. And out of the thousands of people that were listening, they all concluded the same thing. I'm talking about UFOs. I'm talking about things that I've seen in the sky and the interactions that people have. No, the document I was reading is 1,000-year old, and it's talking about the jinn. No difference.
For those watching, we have had Nathaniel Gillis on the podcast, but
you have. Good.
Well, unfortunately, for those of you who follow us on YouTube, it's one of the episodes that they deleted during the
purge,
during the great censorship period of 2020, 2021.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, so audio listeners, if you're following us on Apple Music or Spotify or anything, it'll still be there, but you won't be able to watch the video because that's YouTube for you. But
yeah, well, we do get drawn into sometimes sensitive areas, and sometimes we end up saying things that shouldn't really maybe say. But but all I can say is when people ask those questions, just yes, it's true, it happens, we know. We have the evidence. We've seen it. I know it. But we don't need to talk about it on here.
Steve, how many of these experiences do you think... I mean, this is probably an impossible question to answer, but of all these experiences, like you mentioned one every 18 seconds, how many...
That's a sighting.
A sighting, yeah. What sort of split would you say there is between people experiencing the phenomena, as you describe it, and... sort of
leading to something extra?
No, the difference between people experiencing something non-human intelligence and people experiencing black projects, military, experimental propulsion, that sort of thing.
Oh, right. I mean, well, some of the stuff in the sky is definitely ours, and you won't be able to tell the difference unless you know what you're looking for.
Right.
I mean, for instance, there's an object, it's traveling at 1,200 miles an hour, 1,200 miles an hour. It looks disc-shaped. It's seemingly got some windows on it, but it banks. What's an aircraft? It's an aircraft. It banks. In other words, it has the restrictions of, like, we have to bank on an aircraft, otherwise it'd be tear apart, won't it? Some of these objects, which are high speed and look like discs, are definitely ours. They're banking. The phenomenon doesn't need to bank. It's inside a bubble. It doesn't have inertias like that. You can go like this. It can turn, if it's a disc, it can be on its side. It can go like this and dart around all over the place. The thing is that when we see something and it looks like that, but yet it turns and banks and it's going at 1,200 miles an hour, it's our toys. We've got a lot of toys, including the UAP drones, because we did have the phenomena in the skies, not just in New Jersey, but we had them in other places around the world. It's a demonstration of the phenomena taking place. How did he dilute this situation in the US? Very cleverly. Put the toys up. Get the toys out. Put the toys up. Exotic drones. Oh, yes. They've already said they've got exotic materials. They're using them in Iran. But the thing is that they put them up in the sky, causes mass confusion. They get the FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority, to turn around and say, don't worry, guys, we know what they are, we know where they come from, we've cleared them. Everything gets thrown out. The baby gets thrown out with the water. Everything goes. Because you've just diluted the whole very psychological process, very cleverly done, and it did work. And that's the best that they could do, but they're going to get these demonstrations. Yes, it was a demonstration. I think it was 9 countries that were involved under that demonstration. The US was just one of them. New Jersey of all, where specialized technologies are being manufactured. A lot of them in New Jersey, funny enough, where Spielberg wanted to shoot when Spielberg shot his film. Not by coincidence, by chance.
You mentioned that you said that unless you know what you're looking for, it's difficult for someone to discern. So I've got to take this opportunity while you're here, Steve. Can you run me through my experience and see if we can discern whether I saw the phenomenon or my hunch, which it was sort of some sort of black project military thing.
Yeah, let me know, Phil. Tell me.
So I live about 10 miles from Wharton Aerodrome, which is BAE Systems site.
Well. Mm-hmm.
And I was stood about 10 feet that way. I think it was a Sunday late morning. This is about 18 months, 2 years ago. And I saw a military plane heading the way they always go over my house towards that area. And then not long after, I saw this round object in the sky. And it came from that direction towards me, not quite over the house, but in front of me to the west. And I watched it for about 10 minutes. It moved. It was silent, round, dark, with almost like a donut shape, but it was hard to discern whether it was hollow or whether it could have been mirrored in the middle. But what was striking was the way it moved. It didn't move like anything I've seen before. And I used to be well into jets and planes when I was a kid. My dad used to work at aerospace. He used to bring me posters home. It's like, I'm pretty good on knowing planes.
Did it move as
like.
if it was living? Did it move as if it was like a living thing? Yep.
Right, so the analogy that I've used before is there's a Soviet fighter called a MiG-29 that used to do, it was known for doing a special movement called the Cobra, where the pilot would flip its front end and it would, like a cobra striking.
Yeah.
And this object seemed to undulate as a form of propulsion.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't move like a drone that would hover, like a VTOL, like a Harrier jump jet. It moved organically.
Yeah, organically. Was it on its own?
Yeah.
Nothing else in the sky but that?
No.
No aircraft round?
I saw the aircraft first going towards the aerodrome. The aircraft disappeared because when I first saw it, I thought it was something that had fallen off the airplane and was floating by. But then it started to move very purposefully. So I realized that it wasn't debris. It was something that was moving under its own steam.
And no lights on it, no.
It was during the day, and it was a proper pea soup sky, just a totally greyed out sky.
Yeah.
And just this one thing. I didn't freeze. I did pull my phone out, and I did take video, but it's terrible. It's terrible video.
Yeah, it always is. You don't realize how good the human eye is, do you, when it comes to things like that?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
And dead silent, no noise.
And did it traverse to a point where you just lost sight of it?
Yeah, it came straight towards me from the west.
Yeah.
Stopped.
Oh, it stopped?
It stopped above me, very brief. I say stopped. Maybe it just slowed down a lot.
Okay.
And then it turned and went north as if it was going up to Garstang. And I watched it for a good 8 to 10 minutes until it finally disappeared into the pea soup.
Mm. That particular day, what were you doing?
I was outside having a fag and a brew.
Yeah, but what was you doing? Anything subject related?
No.
No. Was nothing at all? No connection being subject related at the time you've been there and seen that? No.
Nothing that comes to mind, and I've never not experienced anything paranormal before or since.
What time was this?
I want to say it was about 11:15, between 11:15 and 11
in the morning
a.m. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I would, because of the timing and everything, I would be leaning towards not ours.
What's your logic for?
I'll tell you what the logic of that is that because though it's traversing a slow grade, quite clearly observable, quite clearly at a time when air traffic would be busy, in the vicinity of air traffic locations, and you probably would have it would have been picked up on several radars, even maybe East Midlands as well, if they were capable of picking it up on radar, of course. But what you're saying with the traversity, the waving movement, even when they've done that when they've come further down, it's called the falling leaf motion, that is linked with the phenomenon more so than what technological craft, because the earliest recording events of things like that, organic moving, is around about 1952, 53. Right. So it's not like something that we just suddenly got this technology, you know what I mean? But because of its placing, its timing, and its location, I would say I'd be leaning towards it's something else. Right. To be honest with you. Now, I've got a piece of footage myself, taken by myself, just one afternoon. Actually, it was probably around about 12 midday, something like that, and it came past the house, not too fast, just meandering through, as if it didn't care. But as it's moving, it's going like this sort of thing. Yeah. I had no idea because my brain couldn't recognize what it is. What is it? I'm trying to work out in my head through the schemas. What is that? Why is it moving like that? And it just carried on. And I followed it to the back of the house and I've still filmed it. But then it did change shape and then climbed in altitude. So there was an altered, it was capable of changing its shape for some reason. I don't know how. But it'd lead me to believe, all the data you're telling me would lead me, if it's an exotic craft, they're doing it at what? They're doing it at the wrong time. Don't get me wrong, they're all happy to fly exotic crafts though, but they usually tend to be at night. I filmed them, Sometimes they don't have lights on them, but that time of the day, at that location, I'm leaning towards like something that if they were doing it, then the guy who was responsible for being involved in that needs basically sacking, because it's just too obvious.
I looked at the news like the next day trying to see if anyone had seen anything.
Because what can happen, Phil, is like you can single you out. But I had a huge craft the size of a football field come down in a location in Cheshire called Partington, right? Now half the country should have seen this thing. It was huge. It had girders girders on it, metal girders, lights, and all sorts of things. No noise, silent. I had 7 witnesses, 5 people on the bus, and 2 police officers in the car. One of those police officers is a guy called Sergeant Butts from Sale Police Station in Cheshire, who wrote the report out. Right. Only 7 witnesses. Why only 7 witnesses? See, this is what the phenomena can do. It can choose. You consciously connect and you can choose to see it. Sometimes you can't even record it. So sometimes you can't take photos of it. Sometimes it'll turn up. I've had a structured craft and I've filmed it with others for somebody else stood next to me. And I couldn't film the structured craft. It turned out to be a ball of light on camera, on video. Very interesting ball of light, but neither that. It's a ball of light, not a structured craft. But that's not what I was seeing. I saw a structured craft.
This
but
sort of
it doesn't work like that.
Seeing these things is a little bit terrifying for me sometimes. Is there any way to kind of switch it off? So that
I'll tell you what, I wasn't scared at all. I was just intrigued. I was just observing it.
It's because you were flooded with endorphins.
Maybe I was, yeah.
Well, it depends on what people want. I mean, sometimes these things come out of the blue, and when this phenomenon can suddenly look, we are sitting targets. I mean, the phenomenon can just descend at any time it wants. If you're in a oval location, I'd be certainly a bit more sensitive to your environment. Be careful and stuff, because they tend to like to do interactions in places where human footfall is lower.
Shit.
So oh yeah, he does. That's the way. It's just an intelligent mechanism. It's what it does. If he wants to interact, he doesn't want everybody. He doesn't want to show what he'll do it in a location where it's pretty much clear or raw, or wait for you to be in a particular place, or it'll put the thought into your mind to go to that place if you're an experiencer. Some people have gone to meet the phenomenon, the interaction. They've been driven to do it. But yeah, it can be if you're a bit unsure. Now, if you've got a craft in the sky and you see it, I would suggest, film it, take photographs, do as much as you possibly can. Make sure you look around and see if you can gain somebody else's attention to draw to it. Because you need to know, are you seeing it or are they seeing it as well? Because you really would not know the difference. That if you look up and see something, you'd assume the person standing over there who you don't know 100 meters away is seeing the same thing. So it's a good point to actually pull that out and say, look, can you see that? Get that on film. Even if you audio as well, people don't think about, but the audio to talk through your experience, say as much as you can, let people know what's happening. If this phenomenon suddenly is tracking across the sky and stops in your vicinity, that's not good. If it puts on a display for you, it puts lights on or flashes or interacts in a way, that's not good. Right? If it puts on a huge, beautiful colored display of lights, which like Arca's world lights are beautiful colors, then you're really in deep shit.
Is it flirting?
I'll be honest. Well, that's called Glamouring, and what it does is it literally you're glamoured. You literally are mesmerized by the beauty of this thing. And what happens is that it's the magician's hand. You're so focused on this thing, you're not checking your perimeters.
You don't. This has
happened to us. It's happened to us when we were in the desert mountains of Palm Springs. Put a beautiful display on. The thing is, what we didn't realize is that they were already on the ground behind us, and that's the problem. You've got to be 360, And then we of course we hightailed it out of there. The skin reaction there, it was hyper reactive. So it was like the body was telling us get the hell out of there. So we did. But it's like an entrapment, really. It's like look at this, the magician's hand, while this is going on behind. So they can draw your attention and literally mesmerize you with beautiful lights. If that is happening, then it's not a good situation. Your discernment levels, you got to, I've said to people, if you're going to go out there meaningfully to go out sky watching and things like that, then at least make sure you starve yourself of refined sugar. Refined sugar is a poison to the body. It causes adrenal weakness. You rely on your fight or flight kicking in. All you got to do is talk to paranormalists out there. They'll tell you the same thing. When we go into a certain location, we go into this room, all the hairs stand up on your body. I get this strange feeling. That is your fight or flight kicking in. In other words, it's saying your survival sense, which is very good, might have been coming handy when the days of the saber-toothed tiger was watching us from the bush, you know. But it's telling you, look, just because you can't see it, just because you can't hear it, doesn't mean it's not there. And I don't like it, so get out. And it's your body telling you it's a warning mechanism. People don't listen to that enough, or cannot listen to it, because you know the fight or flight has been so suppressed by the amounts of refined sugar people consume on sky watchers. You know, I'm just saying it's the worst thing you can have. But just be prepared. You know, that's probably about the best thing if you're going out sky watching. If you're not, and you're in a location, you've got interaction taking, be very, very careful. You know, there are things much worse that can happen than I've talked about on this show. But I'm sure I can leave that to your imagination.
I sometimes like to go out and do a bit of stargazing, you know, especially if there's something interesting, some astronisms in the sky that, you know, a comet or whatever in the news. I am always a little bit terrified about the whole vastness of it all. And I think I'm constantly in that hairs on the back of the neck.
Well, the idea is not to be. I mean, you know, the idea is if you want to open yourself to a phenomenon, to being an experience, you've got to not give a damn.
Right. Yeah.
You really have. You really have. I mean, you've got to give yourself to the phenomenon. Like any faith, like any religion, you've got to give yourself to it completely, and then it'll come forward. The thing is, if you've got like, you know, you're having these feelings and things, that's going to probably cloud the fact that, you know, that phenomenon will take a little bit of a stand back. You know, he likes its follow, you know, certainly he's intrigued with those interactions, but it's usually people that are just more curious. You talk about some of the worst experiences these people have abduction experiences. It's because they've like, what is that? That's incredible. And they're walking towards it. They're not running away in fear. They're not running away. They're curious. They're intrigued. And that is what leads to sometimes some things which aren't very good. That mechanism that you have is a good thing, but it's like anything. It's that excitement. And I get it. I totally get it. This is why people are so infused with the phenomenon. But sometimes it will go very, very badly for them. And all they can do afterwards is sort of say, well, I shouldn't, I wish I never done that, you know. But it doesn't happen to everybody. I mean, some people can go sky watching all year round, you know, and you might see a few little things in the sky and a few lights and things which they'll film and they'll all talk about it. But thank God that's all they'll get, you know. But if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you come across something that really does want to interact, then really, you know, we've got to be on our toes and expect the unexpected, because it is unexpected. You don't expect something like that to happen. You might go out skywatch, say, I'm going to see a few satellites tonight. Might get the odd strange lighting as well, which I might be able to capture on the camera. And that's really what you're thinking. The unexpected could be the fact is that when you actually are filming the sky, that there's something on the ground which is monitoring you. That they could be right next to you, right under your nose, and you wouldn't even know.
God,
this is why I tell you guys, this is why disclosure is not going to happen. How can you disclose? How can you drop this onto the laps of people and say, look, we can't control the skies. We don't know where their base of operation is. We don't know where they come from. We are assuming that they've got different outlets under the sea. Yes, 5 locations noted by the Navy so far, and other places. But we can't control it, and we don't know where they're coming from. We don't know if we wanted to retaliate, where do we go to retaliate to? We can't use the normal equipment and technologies to perceive them. They can outdo us at every given turn of technology. We can't match them in the skies. The phenomena it can be covert and espionage. It can be track individuals to their homes. It can interact with them, and it can appear right under their noses. They wouldn't even know it's there. How are they going to disclose this about the paranormal associations with ufology? And they are. It is a phenomenon, like paranormal phenomenon. It's all linked, as far as I'm concerned. These aren't different factions. The cryptids, the paranormal, the supernatural, the ufological. The problem we've had over the years is that compartmentalization. The UFO guys were never talking to the paranormal guys, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Let alone the Bigfoot guys. Right, I don't believe anybody.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, none of them were getting anywhere until about 15 years ago. They decided to collapse the boxes. I kept saying for 20 years, 20, 30 years now, collapse the boxes. They're more a hindrance than anything. So they started to collapse the boxes, and what they realized is, well, we've got some Bigfoot cases where they turned into balls of light and shot off. I've got some Bigfoot cases where they were invisible, they were cloaked. Or I've got some Bigfoot cases where the prints in the snow just stopped and it disappeared. I've got some Bigfoot cases where they're seen with UFOs. Okay, so what happened was those were put away. And every single situation has been put away. In the days of Project Blue Book, the Blue Book officers were going out, made a big stink about it to the newspapers because they always wanted to look good on film and cameras. The reporters, they get out the trucks and stuff and cars, and we've got the little satchels and the uniforms on and making it look like a really good job. We're going to see the residents of this home who've seen a UFO. I've got those reports. They look like they've been filled out by a 12-year-old. They didn't know what they didn't even ask him decent questions. But when Mrs. Brown turns around and said, I watched it for 40 minutes over the farm, and he's noting it all down and says, but after that, and we had about 2 weeks of poltergeist activity, he says, Mrs. Brown, whoa, we don't want all that ghosty stuff. Just stick to the UFO facts, please. There's your compartmentalization. It was happening even back then. Yeah. So now we've collapsed the boxes. We can say, hang on a second, my conclusion's not in this camp. It's in that camp. There's my conclusion. So you start to look and you start to see the mechanism. And what happened is I wasn't the only one to see that mechanism. When I got onto the think tanks, they wanted to know. I mean, first off, what happened was I got a call. And it was to set up a meeting with people I don't know. And this was some years ago, and it was called the Advanced Working Party. And after researching, I realized the Advanced Working Party are people that are in and actively working in the US government, and some which are retired. This active working party grilled me. The first question was, do I work for the MI5 or MI6 or the MOD? I said, none of them. Have you ever worked for the Department of Defense or the CIA? No. Have you been in conversations with Kit Green? Okay, I don't know if you know who Kit Green is, but he's high up, very high up in regarding the UFO programs or UAP programs and other things for the US government. I said no. And then he went on to ask me questions about how I knew what I knew. And that was basically because we were releasing information. And then he wanted to know about the information deliverance. And I said, well, I'm not sanctioned. You guys might be sanctioned, but I'm not. But I accept the fact that I said, look, if you have to come and knock on my front door for me to stop, then I'll stop. I'm not going to mess about. You've got family and friends, and I'm not going to mess. Look, especially on the backbone of 11 people, which have recently, disappeared or worse.
NASA, yeah.
I held my hands up and said, look, guys, if you want me to stop, come knock on my front door and tell me to stop, and I will stop. And then they asked me to join the think tank, which is one of 4 now. I'm in. It was just a new one recently, about a month ago. But I get to hear things, but I can't talk about until they let me talk about them. But I get to know things. And when I do get to when I can talk about them, have talked about them. And one of those things is that it's a whole farce, UAP hearings. And now there's an internal battle between people which are trying to dissuade whistleblowers, and it's working. And this internal battle about I'm going to, Trump's going to have all this information released. Well, no, Trump is going to get some bits, and Trump might even get documents released to him, but they'll be redacted, for sure, because it's national security. They're not going to turn around and tell the world. Let's go and tell the Chinese and tell the Russians what great toys we have and the technologies we have. No, I don't think so. That's national security. Well, that means that you're not going to be able to say then. I mean, it's a bit naive to think that it's actually going to happen. But how do you even begin to disclose something of this? You'd have to be tiny sections of it. The UAP hearings actually initiated some of that. If it got a bit hot and sensitive, it would go into a skiff and you wouldn't hear anything then after that. But it's not. It's the people at the top know that it's a farce. It's not. It's all about distraction, including your tic tac.
The phenomenon, the non-human intelligence. Do you think they see governments and government structures maybe as an impedance to what they're trying to do rather than a hindrance?
They know exactly what's what. They're already in there. See, the thing is that people have been going on about hybrids and all this sort of thing for a long, long time, and now that hybrids look like humans. But the biggest ruse is that the hybrids are hybrids like that. The phenomena can come along and just hijack your consciousness. And basically, you're just intaking information for them. It is no different than a demonic possession, in a sense of speaking, hijacking consciousness. No different. I mean, I spent 15 years in advanced paranormal mechanics. And when you start to do that, you start to realize connections between things. I mean, when I was working on the apport phenomenon in Poltergeist, we realized very quickly that the apports are seemingly quantum anchors. It's the phenomenon trying to deliver itself to a location by providing something in the location to direct the disturbances to. Remove the apport, you get a temporary difference. You don't get nothing for 3 or 4 days. People on the phone to you saying, have you got rid of it? And then it realizes the phenomena is traveling with the apport. You go and put the apport in a secure location. You got phenomena taking place there. And then it kind of realizes after a few days and goes back. But it causes a disruption in their mechanism. They don't like it, But when I was talking, with different people, we including priests, I mean, the thing is that when exorcists are performing these incidents of trying to rid demonic possession, entities, we have all these wonderful names for these things, just names though. That sometimes they regurgitate apports, pennies, and small items out of the mouths, because it's desperately trying to anchor itself to the environment, because the priest is trying to get rid of the damn thing, and it's the same phenomenon. But we just don't know how to connect the dots. People don't know that, I mean, with paralysis, your paralysis is taking place every single night when you go to sleep. REM process. Input blockade and output blockade takes, we when we go to sleep, proper sleep, we struggle. If you ever record yourself, it's funny, you end up moving around all night long, but you're moving in hypnopompic or hypnagogic states. Just wait, just not quite. But when you are still, you're grabbing 30 seconds there, a minute there. We're only trying to grab 20 minutes of REM a night, where we drop when we dream. If you remember your dream, if you had a dream, you've been in REM.
Right.
But what's interesting is that two things take place. Input blockade, you can't hear anything. And output blockade, you can't move, you're paralyzed. So the mechanism's already here. So the phenomena comes along and just switches it's just electrical impulse. It just switches the switch. It doesn't have to be a super powerful thing. It's just switching the switch through electrical impulses. And we can't move. And we're awake and we can see what happens. But not just the paranormal does that. I wake up, there's a ghostly figure in the room, or a smoky apparition, and I can't move and paralyzed. Or it's alleged alien greys with the light going through the window. Or I can't move and paralyzed. The phenomenon does the same thing. And over periods of time, you start to realize that they're all interconnected. So what happened? All that data goes over to Japan. And they had something called the CRS system. It ran for 3 years. It was advanced computer. And they pumped everything into this computer. Everything to do with dogmen, everything to do with crop circles, everything to do with the paranormal, hauntology, poltergeist infestations, demonic stuff, supernatural, spiritual, ufological, you name it, legends, myths, and tales. And they plowed this in for 3 years constantly. Because what they wanted to do after 3 years is basically ask the question, okay, tell us what it's all, what is it? So eventually the day comes, after they press the button, and they're expecting reams and reams of information to come out. No, basically it was quite comical. It was like a couple of paragraphs. The first paragraph was like, we're dealing with something that creates physiological constructs. I'm a physiological construct. Everything around you is a physiological construct. But if something can create physiological constructs, it means it can create a Bigfoot. It means it can create a dogman. It can create an alien. It can create a craft. It can create anything.
Why would it create those things if it can create anything? I mean,
how's it create them?
No. Why would it choose to create such?
Because it's a way to interface with humanity.
Well, it could create like, and I'm going to steal a Douglas Adams reference here, like a whale in Ebola petunias, right?
You could do. Yeah, absolutely. Could create anything. And it has created some crazy things. You know, if you believe a whale, in what did you say, Ben?
And Ebola petunias.
And Ebola petunias. Right. Okay. So if you get 100 people believe that is correct and that thing exists, therefore the archetype will appear. It learns from the mechanism of what we think, what we expect. Now, if you go and ask kids on the street now, draw me an alien, what do you think they're going to draw? They're going to draw likely an alien grey or something out of the Alien film.
A Jabba the Hutt
right?
or something.
But surveys have been done like this, and the kids, 60-70% are drawing alien greys. Why is the alien grey still here? Well, because the internet came along, right, in 1994, when I got it anyway. And the alien grey was systematically employed on a world basis. And it's stronger than ever. Where's all the Space Brothers gone? Well, not enough people believe in it. So therefore it'll change us. And the grey will change eventually to become something else. You know, I mean, why do we got mantid beings? Well, that's based on a mantis, a praying mantis, which is an insect on planet Earth. I mean, think about it. You know, the thing is, they use what we can give them and what they can obtain. And the thing is, if enough people believe in it, then therefore it will exist. And there's been experiments in this. And I mean, look at the Philip experiment, you know, just create a ghost. They did create a ghost. Became a tulpa eventually, you know, interactions. But, you know, this is Ontario in the 1970s as a scientific experiment. It does work. You know, if you get enough people to believe it, it will be born, it will become itself, and it becomes the archetype. And this is what phenomena does in the paranormal and the ufological. But the thing is, when it comes to these experiences with the apports are linked in with other aspects into ufology, the cryptid phenomena. The dogman is a fear-feeding parasite. You can say, oh, well, it should be a predator. But what happens when it catches up to you? Nothing. It runs away. The game is up. You could fall over like people have running away from one of these things on disused train tracks. The rest of his mates carried on, left him. All that. Yeah, but they weren't going. But they did slow down and stop to see this thing standing over him. It could have ripped him apart in a second. It's a predator. It's pursued him. What does every other predator on the planet do? You know as well as I do. It's a meal ticket if you're lying there. It's done its job. Thank you very much. No. It's like, okay. And it runs away. It doesn't know what to do. There was incidents where in Ohio when it's been chasing people, a couple of teens, and they're at this log cabin where they're staying with the dad. The dad's asleep upstairs because he's been working nights. And this thing's got this thing, which looks like it looks like a werewolf. Come on, let me be honest with you. It's got hold of the handle and it's going, as if you were trying to scare a little kid, you know. There's a big glass window there. They're looking at this thing going, And the damn thing could have come through the door easily. It's like paper. It could have come right through the big glass window that they're looking through at it. No, it just wants to scare them. So all the noise, Dad gets up. What the hell is going on? What's all the noise? Dad, don't go to the door. Don't unlock the door, Dad, don't. None of this messing about. No messing about, guy. Opens the door, comes face to face with this thing. He's looking up at this thing. This thing's staring back at him and he's staring at it. And there's a moment of nothing. Like, both of them are like, what the hell? And it just takes off. Running. The game's up. It's a fear induction process, so it's a mechanism.
What about
it's a fear-feeding parasite in a sense of speaking.
They're not all like that though, are they? Because what about reports of, you know, chupacabra in Mexico and
No, I mean the dogman acts as a
just the
fear-feeding
dogman,
parasite.
right? Okay,
yeah.
Because like
Well, there's
mutilation
actually
of cattle and
there's
things.
3 different cryptids that are out with fur-feeding parasites. It's a physiological poltergeist in a sense of speaking. It's a fur-feeding parasite. Now, if you want to talk about the chupacabra or other things like this, yeah, I mean, I'm in contact every day with the Brazilian friends. And it's absolute strife at the moment over there. All hell's breaking loose. Hundreds of animals, people moving, people being chased by the balls of light as well. Not just these things killing as livestock. It's an absolute nightmare at the moment.
Really?
But you won't get to hear about it because you won't get that information on your Google search. And I tell you what, the only way you can get that information is if you don't even write it in English. You've got to write it in their language.
Portuguese.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then you'll start getting something. Because this is what it does. You're not allowed to, those concentrated walls, are just disallow you to obtain information. It's a nightmare. So that's why I have to keep in touch regularly with people. Yeah, but it's a physiological creature, and it's obviously it's taking. Well, I mean, if you want to take it from cattle, 10 gallons of blood, it's not an easy thing to do, and not have a drop left. But it's obviously it's utilizing soft tissue and blood.
Yeah.
And what do you find in soft tissue and blood? Because you've got all these different people talking about it. Well, let's talk to the professionals. What did they say? What do you find in soft tissue and blood? Are these out of any animal? Mucous membranes. Mucous membranes.
Right.
What do mucous membranes do? Well, these are the most important things about immunity.
Oh, right, of course.
How often are these things in our environment? We're in their environment. We might get taken into their environment, but they're not in our environment for very long. What is it? Why are they going on about taking all this blood? Soft tissue areas is where concentrated mucous membranes lie. Now, we also know that the animals are alive when they do it.
Right.
Why are the animals alive when they do it? Because the amount of fear and pain induction what happens to the mucous membrane and the cells, they go into superpower. They go into super production. The immunity goes through the roof, and then basically it collects it. It's a very clever mechanism that's been used. It's been going on for quite some time, but we're dealing with a physicality of phenomena.
Bovine adrenochrome.
I was going to say adrenochrome.
Yeah.
It basically is. That's it. I mean, there was a spate in France about 3 years ago. You can Google it, actually. 27 horses still going on in France.
Wow.
And these things are happening. It sometimes in mass herds. I mean, deer. There's over 300 deer in where was that now? On the hills of Norway, not too far from Hasdalen, actually, the light phenomena place. Over 300 deer. And they tried to put it down to say, oh, well, the 300 deer mysteriously died because of a lightning strike. But what they didn't realize is that people had found them and took video footage. So, okay, so these deer got struck by lightning. Where's the heads?
The heads were missing.
Some of them were.
Well,
And it's not about antlers, because they were left behind in some cases. It's weird, sometimes there's mass stuff going on, and there's a lot more going on out there than we would ever know, and it can be quite disturbing. Look, but the thing is it any different than what we do? I mean, what do we do to cattle?
Right.
yeah.
Let's just put it into straight and say, look, they do what we do, probably. They utilize them just like we utilize them. Well, they learn from us, so yeah, I guess so. So I mean, the way we go in is that we're not in a good place to be able to teaching them, really, are we? Because we're not great teachers, are we?
No.
But this is the problem. But yes, you do get physicalities, but some things are fear feeders.
So do you
They are
think
different.
do you think the governments are leaning on the media to stop stories being published like this? Do you think there's some sort of a conspiracy of silence going on?
Some are. It depends how sensitive it is. I mean, I've been
Right.
lead on a few times when things are pretty sensitive. Yeah. It doesn't mean I don't release them. I mean, it always comes out. I always make sure they get out eventually. But yeah, sometimes you get knockbacks. I mean, I've been followed. I've had my mail checked. I've had my phone tapped. I've had all that. I was on the MOD watch list for 2 years.
Wow.
But they don't like you asking questions and stuff. And you got to play the rules. You can't. It's okay people being out there and saying, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and they'll never stop me. Mate, if you knew what they were, they'd stop you, not a problem. And don't think that you've got superiority over them. I've seen them following me. The registration was a barcode. It wasn't even a normal registration on a Jaguar, of all things. How do I know? Because they wanted me to know that I was being followed. Look, these are professionals. They could follow me without me knowing. Of course they could. They're experts, So they wanted me, it's the fear thing, isn't it? They want to do that. They want to scare you a little bit. And that's my entanglement with the National Security Agency in 1996. It didn't go too well. But at the end of the day, they're like, who are you? Why are you asking questions? And then, they deploy a team and, and it can cause you some problems. So at the end of the day, you've got to kind of skirt around the outside and try and not illuminate too much, but try and keep on track and still try and get information out. At the end of the day, try and educate people about what the phenomena truly consists of and let people make their own mind up. Because I get asked all the time, well, Steve, are the demons? How many people now are coming up? Even J.D. Vance said last week, oh, they're demonic. Well, yeah, J.D. Vance would, wouldn't he? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's not just him. There's other people saying it's too profound and it's too unusual and da-da-da. Well, the problem is that we're dealing with a phenomenon that predates religion. Where did the demon come from? Where did the devil come from? It was created from religion. People get mixed up about the daemon. The daemon is a spiritual guidance. It's not about something evil. It's a spiritual guide. That spark of influence. That's where your daemon is. But now the people say, oh, your daemon's your demon and your demon's the devil. And, people don't understand, that why would it be the devil? Why would it be demons? The phenomena predates it. Predates the devil, predates the demon. If you want to talk about the fallen ones, okay. Oh, yeah, they're bad, them. Fallen ones. Okay, what are they? Oh, they're angels. Hang on a second. They're angels, then. Well, yeah. Well, they only went a different direction. Came down instead of stayed up there. The fallen ones. They're angels, then. Yeah. Well, they didn't have wings. Wings didn't turn up until Ezekiel days. They made them have wings.
Right.
So they look like you and me then. So this is the problem, you said. People, when I go and lecture internationally and I go to these Bible Belt areas, they hate me. I've got people crying saying, I've introduced my daughter to this, my 12-year-old daughter to the phenomenon. I can't believe you're telling me this, da-da-da-da-da. Don't invite him back. Fine, no problem. But I would not be, do not take your 12-year-old daughter and invite them to this phenomenon, for crying out loud. And now we know that people who have had trauma in their lives at an early age are literally, it's like having a target on your back with this phenomenon. The phenomenon loves people like this. Why? And now the Skywatcher team are utilizing children and trauma. I tell you, when Barbara said that, I felt like knocking him out, to be honest with you. I mean, if it was my child, I wouldn't be inciting this type of stuff just to get a reaction from phenomena. You have no idea what they're dealing with.
No, it's scary, that. Yeah,
it is scary. And that's public. I'm talking about something that's already out there and already been publicised on YouTube and stuff. This is nothing new. But I said this years back. It's been going on forever and ever and ever. And when the certain individuals' files got released recently, which I won't mention his name,
Epstein,
I got absolutely hammered. What the hell am I getting hammered for him?
Really?
Well, that was basically because, what he was doing, the occult rituals, the manifestations, the practice of it, the workings of it, and his interest to topics. And I thought, it's the same thing. Keep talking about it. Keep saying about it. It's everywhere now. It's hidden now. You don't see it. It's in everywhere. And the problem is the phenomena, if we were at war at any degree, we're not winning it. No, we're not. And people have even said to me, the Bible starts with the war in heaven. Yeah. Did anybody ask who won?
No.
This is the problem, you see. We just, at the end of the day, we don't know, is this battle still going on or not? Or is it misinterpreted? Are we dealing with God? I mean, it's horrible to say, to consider that. But according to the Bible, the God delivers bad and good, according to his own words. I deliver the calamity. I deliver in some cases, evil. It was actually turned to calamity years later. Well, if God delivers the good and the evil, then the phenomena can be good and evil and can be delivered by God, according to the Bibles. People like to talk to about preaching the Bible about, it could be this, Stephen. They think you are. Well, know your Bible. Don't. The idea is don't get in touch with me unless you know your Bibles. And don't hence go on about the New Testament, because the New Testament has all been doctored and changed. And this is the problem. The religious scriptures are changing, and I guarantee in the next 20 years there can be another change. Because I tell you now, King James is getting old.
The Trump Bible next.
The King James Bible is a rabbit hole on its own.
Updating, doesn't it? It needs making it more, 21st century. But the thing is, the more you do this, the further away you come from the original writings. It makes me laugh. It really does.
So Jesus rizzed up to Mary Magdalene, and so that sort of language on it.
No cap, for real.
Can we move? Can I ask you about CERN, Steve, the Hadron Collider?
Yes.
In Switzerland, just outside Bonn, is it? I think.
Yeah. I mean, is that one? There's more than one.
There's more than one, isn't there? Isn't it?
In fact, as we speak, the biggest one in the world is being built.
From what we're told, these are particle accelerators, and they're being used by physicists to try and unlock the nature of neutrinos and quarks and God particles and Higgs bosons. I mean, do you think that's an acceptable explanation? Do you think they're actually doing different things there that maybe we're not privy to?
Well, they are doing that type of work for sure, but they are also doing other things as well. And there are certain rituals when building CERN. I don't know if you're aware of the rituals.
Go into them, because people might not be aware.
Well, I mean, there's symbolism and architecture, which is a cult with association to these places, even the names. It's like when they opened the Goddard Tunnel, which is the one that goes under a deep mountain for the railroad. But the whole thing was just one great big occult ritual ceremony with the leaders there. When dealing with these types of things with the CERN, it's the situation is that, from what I know from insiders, from about a year ago, they were looking into dimensional phenomena, and that they had already reached the knowledge of being 18 dimensions.
Wow.
Probably still growing. I've also heard that sustainability through opening, and I don't like to use portals. I hate the name. It's so fantasy. But if you want to refer to as a constructed electron diffusion region, then yes, they can create them. But the problem is that they demonstrated with mice first to see if it can sustain in there for a certain length of time and get it out.
Okay.
And it didn't. They immediately died. And this went on for quite some time until they managed to wrap the argon gas around these small little critters and put them in for a minute, and it did survive. But the problem is, when it came back, it was survived. It did live, but not for very long. And then he realized that there was rapid age cell growth. The cells was rapid aging. Wow. So there's a difference in space and time, you could say. This has been demonstrated before. I mean, if you look at skull experiment that took place, I don't know if you know much about skull, but skull experiment is one of the world's most recognized profound experiments ever took place in a place called Skull in Norfolk in the 1990s. And manifestation of a newspaper appeared, not just one, but two, from 1934, I believe. Specialists got hold of the newspaper to examine it. First thing they realized is that it's in the same type of paper from 1934. The ink was analyzed from the same type of ink used in 1934. In fact, the world's best specialists on newspapers said, as far as we're concerned, it's like it's just come off print from 1934. It is an authentic 1934 paper. The downside of that is it was kept in a special case away from, you know, out of sunlight and stuff. And what happened was it started to go brown very quickly. In fact, it rapid aged. It was aging roughly 500 days per day. That's how fast it went brown. So eventually it caught up from 1934 to 1998. It eventually caught up very, very fast, if you kept it until 1998, that's what it would look like. So it seems that a predecessor follows in time adjustment, brings it up to the date it is. And this is what was happening with the mice, we believe. We believe that the argon gas, which would apparently keep them alive for a very short period of time, but after brought back, they would die very quickly from rapid aging. So in a sense, being caught up. Now, there's also references to an incident that took place where an entity came through, and there was a conversation of sort, and it did actually sit at a table for a very short period of time before it disappeared again. But I don't know the authenticity of that. I only know that I've been told this by a number of people at the high end, that they are aware of this, but I don't know if that's true, you know. But hey, considering what I know that they can do, then it wouldn't surprise me, you know. They do have normal electron diffusion regions. We're just trying to work out about creating them. Some of them are scattered worldwide, and they seem to utilize to travel from one point in placement and to another. We've been up on top of mountains in a location where we knew that this electron diffusion region was there, and the phenomenon was utilizing it, and we didn't have cell phone coverage. We're not up on the top of a mountain. There's no things around. We've got no cell signal. But suddenly the hairs react on your body. You hear a humming sound and a strange feeling. It's coming from the mountain itself. And then we set like notifications coming through on the phone. And you think, well, where's the notification coming through? No cell sounds hour. But the good thing is it had GPS on it regarding the signal coming in. The signal came from Canada, 4,200 miles away. And we were in the Pyrenees, 4,200 miles of difference. Because we know frequencies do travel through electron diffusion regions. Some tests have been carried out like that before. So they are around, for sure. But I think that's in the case of CERN. I think they're doing some clandestine operations, of course, experiments. But they do still carry on doing the regular things. You know, regarding the high velocity impacts and measuring and stuff like that.
It's a good cover story, man.
It's a brilliant cover story. It really is, yeah. It's a brilliant cover story. I mean, you know, there are lots of different experiments do happen like this. I mean, we got rumors of Montauk and all sorts of different things like that, and the chair and the traumatized children.
Well, yeah, Stranger Things was meant to be set in Montauk, and they changed it, I think, at the last minute.
It was actually going to be called Montauk as well.
The show was going to be called Montauk.
I like the little plug at the end of the series, where he was going to go and move and work at Montauk, and I thought, well, that's been into it.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, but it's, you know, there was some rumors about utilizing trauma in children for, you know, contact and using a specific chair, and the NHI apparently took over that operation. I don't know, but it is interesting when you start to hear, because you hear the same things over years in other developments in other areas, and you think to yourself, well, hang on, that's something like, you go look at Montauk and look at Skywatcher, very similar. What are they using? Well, they don't need to use a chair. They use a God helmet. Yeah, stimulated brain. Well, I'll tell you now, you don't use a God helmet because it's a two-way door. What comes in can go out. It's two-way. It's a swing door either way. Right. Not good, you know. And I've seen quantum imaging of what happens when people have God helmets on, and it's not a pleasant sight.
Enter stranger.
Yeah, it's like Professor X when he loses it, isn't it?
It is.
You know?
Yeah, you can't imagine that. That's your Stranger Things there, isn't it? Really.
Cracky, we're rocking up to 2 hours already, but I want to ask a question because Helen posted a question about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah. Sorry. If there's any questions, I'll ask them. Yeah.
Does Steve think that Chris Bledsoe, sorry, I can't even say his name now, Chris
Chris
Bledsoe is manifesting something genuine?
Yes.
You think it is?
Oh,
Gosh.
well, he's genuine, but the phenomenon's not. The phenomenon's, look, he's an abductee.
Yeah.
His family are abductees. When he went through hypnosis, he was screaming. Yeah, and he's he was. Do you know much of the story of Chris Bledsoe? He was given this small creature, right, but it didn't have a head, and he was told to look after it. He threw it in the barn and thought, "I'm not doing that." I don't know. It's like, it's like what was it? Something like out of Star Trek, like a tribble. It's just a round furry thing with no head. It's an interesting story. Balls of Light, ETs, the lady turning up, which is no different than Hathor or Danu in Ireland, or the Mother Mary, or the Mother Goddess. It's all the same thing.
Archetype.
Archetypes.
Yeah.
And he's openly said, I had to make a pact with them. They'll protect me, look after my family and stuff, as long as I spread their word. Well, that's exactly what he's doing. He's spreading their word. I don't trust the archetypes. I don't trust that. Yeah. I don't think it's a shame for Chris, really, because you can be consumed by this and thinking everything's got good intentions. But when you really start getting into the story about the good intentions of the lady, I tell you, there were some things that she did in that house where he lives, which is not good. If you little things over the years, and now you won't get to hear some of that stuff. It disappears very quickly. But originally, all this information came out, and it was not good experiences with the lady. And now she comes with it's a ritual, it's a cult. She comes with the bull. It's Hathor with the bull and the symbolism. The bull stood over him is a symbolism. He was on the floor. It stood over him. If you know what to look for, you start to see. But it's not Chris's fault. It's a shame, really. And unfortunately, his son Ryan has not helped the situation by turning around and saying, look, if everybody actually sees an orb or anything, they should put our name to it because we're the original people that see orbs. I mean, come on, Ryan.
Come on.
He's upsetting a lot of people. It's not doing his dad any favors. But Chris is, but then he's getting wrapped up into sort of different things, and the pressure's on him now to deliver. Because he's said, I can conjure them.
Yeah.
He can't conjure them. He can be in places where they can be enticed sometimes. Oh, yeah, go and have a walk in the park on your own at night or in the woods. But when he's trying to demonstrate, he tried it at Contact in the Desert.
Did he?
Well, a friend of mine, Patrick from Vetted, was there. And he says he knew, let's go out there at 9:45. He knew what time, and there's 100 people out there, and there it is in the sky, and it's flashing. It's a plane. It's an aircraft.
Right.
But then you know where an aircraft is at 9:45 because you've got an app on your phone that tells you exactly when to go out there and see it. And people saying, well, it's not a plane. Oh no, he don't think it's a plane. He says it's on the recording. Don't think it's a plane, because if you think it's a plane, it'll appear as a plane.
Yeah.
And it just going downhill from then on. The problem is that it's the people that push. It puts him into a predicament of wanting to do more when
See, I wonder if this is what happened with Danny Jones, because he seemed to have convinced Danny Jones. He went with him and they went to the beach, I think in Florida, and Danny swears that he summoned these fucking lights, sorry, pardon my French, these lights over the sea, and they appeared.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong, they probably can do. But you can't do it on demand, because this is what this phenomena does. It waits for you until you get 500 people there, and it drops you off a cliff. This is what it does. It takes you up for a big fall. Right. I've seen this time and time again. I've been doing this for 42 years. I've seen people that have risen to this and then dive bomb. Because this is what the phenomena does. You look great pleasure out of doing this. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think just Chris has been taken for a bit of a ride by the phenomena, really.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, Steve, we've done 2 hours. I think it's only fair that we let you go. But first,
All right.
What's coming up? What you doing for the rest of the spring, the summer? What have you got planned?
Well, I'm doing a lot of filming. I mean, I do
Yeah.
acting as well. So I've been doing a lot of. Well, I've just finished one series for a Canadian television series, and I'm in auditions for the season 3 of Terror with Ridley Scott at the moment.
Nice.
So I do TV work. I've just produced. There's about another 4 documentaries that I've just produced. If you go onto my IMDb, you'll see them all there. I'm writing a new book with Nathaniel.
Cool.
Gillis. Yeah, we're putting a book together, which is very interesting because we've got 2 different angle points. And what we do is we end up saying, "Oh, hang on a sec, that does mean the same thing." So we're kind of working stuff out. So that's coming along. That's interesting. Of course, he's got his new website, Power Symposia, which is interesting, which is starting to share now more information about this type of stuff, this subject. I have an event coming up in October of this year. I've got some lectures to do. And of course, I've still got my tutor course, which is always on the expansion because it never ends because we're always learning more. So it shouldn't be, if you do a course, you shouldn't just be static. It's like saying, let's do a UFO course, but in 3 years' time, half of that might be redundant. You know what I mean? So we're always updating it, so people can obtain the course from us from our website, but it's the course that doesn't end because once people have got the course, we just keep feeding them free of charge all this updated modules because the phenomenon evolves, so we've got to evolve. So that makes it a little bit different. We did have it on the MUFON website advertised at one point, but a lot of MUFON investigators were doing ours instead of theirs. So I didn't advertise it for that long. Yeah, so we're involved in lots of different things like that. And of course, I have my own channel. We're doing the research. Project Enigma is one of them. Project Doorway is another. And Phenomena Project. And we've got 3 different projects at the moment on the go. But I deliver that information to our YouTube channel, keep people up to date with what we're doing and what experiences we've had. Steve
Mera Official 2024 on YouTube. The link's in the show notes and in the description. If people want to see you live doing your presentations, is there somewhere they can go to see where you're going to be?
Well, I do a lot of work over the seas, I don't know if they're going to jump on a plane and come fly over there and see me, but if they're in the UK. But I'm always doing the circuits. If it's not Contact in the Deserts, it's Conscious Life Expo, or there's so many different ones.
Right.
In the UK, I'm in St. Anne's at New Horizons.
Oh, when's that? When's New Horizons?
I'm waiting on a date. But,
right, okay. Well,
yeah,
I'll come and see you.
For that, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm waiting on a date. It's going to be within the next few months, I believe. They're just going through the programs and now fitting me in.
Yeah, and they don't do as many as they used to. It's
don't,
like once a month, I think now.
Yeah, it is once a month now. But I always like to. I give it a little bit of time because when I go, I always try and give them some of the best things I can. I mean, I can reveal more at a conference and a lecture than I can when I'm on YouTube, of course. For obvious reasons. But there's that, and there's a few other ones. I'm just trying to. I'm always busy, but at the same time, the research takes a long time and a lot of work, and that's where I'm focusing as well because time's ticking. I can't be doing this forever, So I'm just trying to focus on getting as much research done as I possibly can. And of course, there's think tanks and things as well, and I'm going to be coming out with some information regarding quantum imaging very soon. I'm working with a team now regarding things which are around us that we can photograph in quantum and constructs which we wouldn't know exist. That is very interesting and shocking in some parts as well. So I'm going to be releasing some of that over the next few months.
Cool. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure, hasn't it, Ben?
Absolutely, yeah, really good. Yeah, thanks.
Really enjoyed it, Steve.
Thanks, guys, for having me on. Keep in contact.
Will do.
And if you want me back on, let's arrange some dates and stuff and let me know.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I'll see you in Lytham for New Horizons, whenever that is. But
I'm sure, they'll be advertising it as soon as they come up with the dates.
But really appreciate your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. All the links for Steve's website and the YouTube and everything is in the show notes, so check it out and you can keep up to date that way as well. But
Wonderful.
Thanks very much, Steve. Enjoy the
Thanks
rest
very
of your,
much, guys.
what's left of your Sunday. Ta-ra.
All right,
Thanks, Steve.
take care.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
for now.
Wonderful. Okay. We shall have a quick 5-minute piss break,
Yep.
and then we shall have a quick debrief, and then off skis, because we've run over. Well, I say we've run over. We knew we were going to run over. But
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big one.
I should have said to Steve, like, how under attack our YouTube channel has been tonight.
Yeah. Wow.
How many dropouts?
Unheard of, that. It's crazy.
I'm probably going to have to, like, scrap that live stream and upload the video file as a video.
Yeah.
Because it was gone for like 10-15 minutes, I think, in the middle of that.
Apologies.
Right, back in 5. Bye. Bye. Oh, man. Yeah, the YouTube gods haven't smiled on us tonight. That's all. I better check it now, see if we're still up. Oh, I think it's cut off again. Let's refresh. Pardon me. See, it says the stream health is excellent now. Now Steve's gone. Yeah, YouTube should be up. On Twitch. Weird how Twitch seemed to keep going. Twitch seemed to keep going.
But Instagram as well.
Someone said in the chat that Instagram was up, weren't it? Didn't they?
We had green messages, didn't we?
You see, Instagram is completely separate from Restream and Aircast. It's straight from OBS.
Interesting.
That's weird. So I wonder, maybe it's a Restream issue.
Possibly.
It'd be interesting to. You see, I think Rumble's offline.
So it kicked everything.
Yeah, I don't know. Might have to review. But yeah.
Investigate.
Yeah, strange times. Everything seems to be up and running.
Health news. Cannabis may help you remember things that never happened. Help you? That's a bit of a weirdly phrased headline.
Oh, Ali is saying there's an echo.
An echo?
Echo? It shouldn't be. One. No. I think that's on your end, Al's. It shouldn't be an echo. I haven't got any tabs open now, have I? Oh, Instagram's muted.
It's the one over there.
Over this way.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's not playing out.
Thing.
It's YouTube Studio.
Oh, no.
Yes. No. Oh, I don't know. Is it worth testing it? Checking it?
Just close everything.
See, look, it's strange. Look, there's nothing. YouTube Studio. It's not showing that we're live. That's weird. On YouTube.
I know, look, it's good elsewhere.
All good here. See, look, it says the stream lasted 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Lies.
But we're live.
So strange. What's that guy doing on his phone?
Oh, gosh. Delay. Echo. Right then, we're back. And I've got the fader down, obviously, because such a pro. Try that again. Right then, we're back. Yeah, those Nephilims building the pyramids with the giant lenses.
Giant contact lenses.
Yeah, melting those granite blocks and moulding them into the right shape at Puma Punku or whatever.
Hey, we're just not trying hard enough in modern times.
No, we're not. We're lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy humans.
I ain't got time to whistle bricks into liquid.
No. Too busy doing other things to do. What's it? Love Island's on, or whatever.
Oh, you mean maths? Married at First Sight.
Oh,
Australia.
God.
Amazing.
Australia.
Yeah, the UK one's not as good as the Australia one because, you know, it's got people from the UK in it.
What's the main difference between maths UK and maths down under?
Mostly the accent.
Mostly.
Mostly.
What? What about? Is there a difference in the ceremony?
You're thinking New Zealand maths. No, there isn't. It's all bonkers and glorious.
Are they just a bit more wild down under, do you think? Is it the heat?
I think so. I think they're a bit, I don't know. It's just my subjective opinion.
You just
I always
like
get them mixed
you're
up.
drawn to the more exotic
Yeah.
rather than the humdrum homegrown.
The boring.
Yeah. Boring Britain.
Yeah, the mundane Britain.
Yeah.
Shit, innit? It's grim up north.
Dawn from Horwich is meeting Steve from Billingham. Great.
Hooray.
Yay. So what's the premise? You go on a date and then get married?
I don't think you don't think you meet them.
Oh, you meet at the wedding?
You meet at the altar. Yeah.
Why do people subject themselves to this?
For clicks or whatever the TV equivalent is. I don't know. Maybe there's a cash prize. I don't think there is, though.
I
think it's a social experiment. They have psychologists and stuff talking about. I think they're matched from a psychological profile ahead of the wedding.
Oh, great!
You're outsourcing all your relationship and courtship to the
algorithm.
Yeah. It's the future.
I mean, the aim. I'm guessing. What's the age demographic of the contestants?
Varies. I'd say early 30s upwards.
Right. So it's not young people.
No, you don't want to mess with the young minds. I think these people have probably tried and struggled in the past. You hear some backstories occasionally.
That's the impression I'm getting. It's people from the early 30s and onwards who've maybe had one or two or several failed relationships or marriages.
Yep.
And are thinking, well, why don't I just
Last
leave
chance
it?
saloon.
I'm going to trust the experts.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a psychological test and get taste profiled and matched with my ideal partner.
Perfect. What more could you want?
And I guess it works well every time then.
Now imagine that
stay
but in
together.
Australia and how much better that is from like a one filmed in Bristol.
Is there any insight given into what these sort of psychological questions or profiles are?
Now I have to say at this point, I am a relatively passive viewer of this show. I'm not.
How can you be an active viewer of this slop?
I don't know but I assume so. I can make some heavy assumptions that that there's a bit of behind the scenes, peeking behind the curtain kind of thing.
Ryan, I've got Star Wars pajamas on tonight.
Star Wars.
You know, I remember years ago meeting a guy whose wife was on The Apprentice, and he laid it all out. How this reality TV is nothing of the sort.
We know someone who was on Don't Tell the Bride, don't we?
Yeah.
And I think I knew someone who was on, what was the first kind of island reality TV show?
Survivor?
Shipwrecked or Survivor
Shipwrecked,
or something.
could be
Survivor,
something.
yeah.
The producers fuck with the contestants. Speaking of The Apprentice as an example, the producers fuck with the contestants to make them look foolish.
Yeah, and the edit is
obviously editing is
where
like the
magic
first thing
is, right?
they do.
Yeah.
So it's not reality. They call it reality TV, but it's not. It's nonsense. It's
Does anyone
entertainment.
think it is actually The Apprentice in particular? Does anyone think that is actual verbatim reality?
I'm sure they do. Yeah, I think they watch the events and say, "Well, this is how it played out."
But
So why would anyone watch it once they know that it's totally fucked with?
well, if you, so my position is that this is definitely totally fucked with from the outset,
Right.
and I just what's entertaining for me about the
You like watching people get fucked with.
yeah, it's the sheer stupidity of it. and then relating
no,
to
but the
that in my own
stupidity
life.
is manufactured, though. That's the point. With The Apprentice, they would fuck with them to make them look stupid.
I think yes, but there's only so much editing can do. That it's not completely magic. I've seen some very
It's not editing. It's not just editing. They will do things. They will hide their phones so the guy can't find his phone. And you came to on this whatever they call it. It's not a mission. The task. You come to the task and you left your phone in the apartment. No, I didn't. I didn't. No, the producers took it.
I quite like most of the kind of business oriented reality slop, like Dragon's Den. It's another good one that I totally get that does rely on editing. And if you go, I'm not sure what my numbers are, and blah 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 blah, but then like 5 minutes later you've got him. You go, fuck yeah, it's like this much. The bit that's going to make the show is you going,
Bob.
That's exactly making a tea out of yourself, and that's the entertainment. It's we haven't moved on since
Colosseum.
Yeah, bread and sexist. Since falling over video show.
You've been framed.
You've been framed. It's not moved on. It's the same thing that's entertaining.
Well, a candid camera would
slapstick.
I think candid cameras are closer. You've been framed. I think most of those are genuine videos. Some of them will be staged, right? But there was a show before that, for a forerunner called Candid Camera.
Yeah,
it
just
was
a carrot.
That was Candid.
Candida.
It was Dom DeLuise.
What? Who?
In America. Dom DeLuise, big fat guy with a beard. He was the voice of the Basset Hound in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Right, okay.
He was the host of Candid Camera, as I remember it. Maybe he was a later host. But that was where the TV show fucked with members of the public and recorded them secretly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Beetle. It was Beatles about.
Yeah.
Jeremy, the hand.
On the other hand, it's massive.
I think he... what did he say? Where they change it for a British audience?
Anglicised.
Yeah,
maybe. Brit-washed.
It's like where you take a book and turn it into a movie.
Adapted it
for a UK audience, and that became Beatles about.
Right.
There was a UFO Beatles about, wasn't there? Didn't they stage a UFO encounter?
A pie dish on a stick.
Do you remember that ghost show? It was on BBC.
Yeah, I made a T-shirt with Derek Akora on it.
It wasn't Derek Akora.
It was a ghost show.
No, I mean this is 30 years ago. 35 years ago. It was Sarah Green. Do you remember Sarah Green?
I do remember it, yeah.
From Going Live.
Yeah.
She hosted it, and it was a ghost hunter show. It was a one-off special.
Right.
And they faked paranormal stuff, but played it dead straight. Ghost Hunt Live. It was.
Hunt Live.
I want to say it was BBC One, 8 p.m. on a Sunday in 1992, something like that.
Okay. So we were about 10.
I want to say I was about 10. And I remember it kind of freaking me out when I first saw it.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to Google it now. Ghost Hunt Live. Ghost Honey Liver. Ghost Hunt Live. 1992!
Ghost Watch.
Did I say 92?
Well done. You did, yeah.
Ghost Watch.
Ghost Watch
was a 1992 BBC mockumentary presented as a live 90-minute investigation into a haunted London home, attracting 11 million viewers, hosted by recognisable presenters like Michael Parkinson and Sarah Green. I'll bet my mortgage on that because she was like the face of the establishment at the time.
Yeah.
The drama used a realistic live broadcast style to tell the story of a malicious poltergeist named Pipes, causing widespread panic and over 1 million phone calls. 1 million people called the BBC that night.
It's like War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
For our generation.
It's got its own Wikipedia page, man.
Is that Claire Paulding?
That's Sarah Green.
No, the one next to her.
That's her husband. That guy, he did top at Pops, didn't he? Oh, Mike Smith. So he was
Mike Smith. Yeah.
Mike Smith, Smitty. He was married to Sarah Green, I want to say at the time. Craig Charles was on it.
Wow.
He was in the house.
My God.
At the height of his red dwarf powers, Craig Charles was coked up going around this haunted house, talking to the family like,
holy shit.
yeah, wow. Oh, what a phenomenon. It would be interesting to go and rewatch that, see how lame it was at the time.
To hold up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all pre-written and then played out as if it was a live broadcast.
Wow.
See, Ryan remembers it.
Oh, Rentaghost.
Scared the shit out of me and my brother.
Yeah.
He might be talking about Beatles about though. Yeah. Spaceballs 2. The new one. The new one.
The new one, yeah.
It was a teaser, I think.
It
wasn't any
was Mel thingy, wasn't it? Chatting.
Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
he released like a 90-second teaser video, piece of camera.
Great. He's great.
He's funny, isn't he?
Yeah. He's going to be 100 when it's released.
Wow. Is it next year? It's penciled in for.
Yeah, I've already
It's
put
a
the day
shame
off.
because Bill Pullman passed away, didn't he? Years ago.
Yeah.
It was Star
Lone
Lone Star.
Lone Star. I was looking for the poster.
But yeah. Is there a Spaceballs boss?
Yeah.
Oh, of course there is, yeah. John Candy again, not with us. So
Yeah, no.
I
Rick
don't know.
Moranis has come out of retirement, apparently.
He retired about 15 years ago,
Yeah.
did he?
Yeah. Longer, maybe.
He's reprising his role as Dark Helmet.
He is. For Mel, which I can respect the shit out of.
Yeah, it'd be good to see Rick Moranis back in the helmet.
Yeah.
You know?
Combing the desert.
Go in the desert, jamming the radar. Ordering from Mr. Coffee.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Coffee, wow.
That's not Mr. Radar, that's Mr. Coffee. Oh, a stupid film.
I have to watch it again.
Well, it's still funny. It's so juvenile, but
That's good.
there is some cleverer jokes, the sort of nods to Star Wars with the hyper merchandising of Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And that they're obviously playing on that with Spaceballs, the
Flamethrower.
yeah. Spaceballs, the doll. Yogurt. The doll.
Yogurt,
You know.
yeah. Pizza
So
the Hut.
there is some, although most Pizza the Hut. Synchronicity.
What?
Who played Pizza the Hut in Spaceballs?
Oh.
Dom DeLuise,
Oh, is it?
host of Candid Camera.
Oh, shit. That's weird.
That is weird. But yeah, so yeah, most of the jokes are kind of silly and juvenile, but there is some satire in there with, nods to the over not product placement in Star Wars, the hyper commercialization of the IP and stuff, just to sell toys. And
a lot's gone on since Spaceballs 1 as well, so Mel's got a lot to go at, I think. I think he'll do a good job of it.
I wonder if they're going to have nods to, because Spaceballs, was it in 1986? I want to say it was 86.
I can't read that small.
I'm pretty sure it was. So it came out after Return of the Jedi. So we've had the prequels.
Yeah.
With Liam Neeson and
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor and Darth Maul.
Sequels.
And the sequels and everything in between.
Rogue One and all that.
So I wonder if they're going to... I imagine they're going to poke a lot of fun at Star Wars now.
There's a lot to go at.
What's going to be... I mean, it's probably is it an unfair comparison? The Mandalorian Grogu comes out this year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Spaceballs 2 outperforms the latest Star Wars film at the box office.
Yeah.
Which is kind of insane.
I mean, there's going to be quite a lot, I would say, of mid 40-year-olds who are going to be interested in seeing that.
But mid 40-year-olds should be interested in seeing the latest Star Wars film as well.
Should be.
It's the same target audience, but we're not, because it's just going to be gash. And we're not going to see it.
We'd like to see a comedy poke fun at it.
Yeah, maybe. Because I love Star Wars and I love Spaceballs. And I don't see Spaceballs as demeaning the Star Wars universe or IP. It's complementary in a lot of ways.
I totally see it as canon.
Barf? Really?
Yeah.
I'm a Morg.
Mark.
Half man, half dog. What? Morg.
Barf.
Yeah. Do you think Spaceballs will outperform The Mandor and Grogu.
What's that thing that everyone's betting on? That everyone's making millions because Trump's bombing at certain times of day. What is it's called? It's like a betting platform, and you can bet on literally anything. Something Poly Market maybe or something.
I don't know.
You could bet now whether
whether
Spaceballs would be
right. It might be worth a shifty fiver.
50p. I might go as far as, but yeah.
I've not seen the trailer. Apparently, a trailer came out this weekend or maybe on Friday for the Mando and Grogu, but I've not seen it.
Grogu.
But I don't sense any anticipation for that film, man.
No, I'll probably watch it.
You'll go and see it, do you think?
Oh, is it a cinema job or is it just straight
Yeah,
to
it's
Netflix?
cinema. No, it's a cinema.
Yeah, maybe.
It doesn't appeal to me. Did you watch? Are you up to date with the series?
Yeah, I can't remember any of it. A lot of this stuff I can't remember. I've not watched Andor, and that's the one that you should watch. So
Andor's actually good.
I might dig through that, but I can't remember shit about. Fuck.
Season 2 of Andor is really good. In particular, season 1's all right, but some of the acting in it is top tier, and production values are top tier.
Yeah,
from the costumes to sets, everything. It looks fantastic. They spent a fuck ton of money on it. I want to say they spent best part $500 million on it on 2 seasons.
Rings of Power money.
It's got your man from Gollum, Andy Serkis, in season 2. He plays a Stormer, like a guest role for a few episodes.
Given bread and Andy Serkis.
It's got one of my favourite characters from Game of Thrones in it. The Meister who revives the mountain. Meister
Pycelle? No.
Pycelle,
is it? Yeah.
The one he gets thrown against the wall. One of the most sort of matter-of-fact deaths in Game of Thrones. So it's like the Mountain of the Hound just sort of tosses him against the wall. He goes like that. But he's fantastic in Andor.
Ryan's just given me a remembrance that it was shot at Cleveley's Beach near us.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Andor.
Yeah,
Wow.
they have some like wave breaks that look quite sci-fi, I think.
No expenses spared, see, for Disney.
No expenses spent. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know which scenes in particular. Oh, right, that's ringing a bell now.
Yeah, I've seen something.
Yeah. Oh, good.
I ain't got room to remember all this stuff. In one ear, out the other.
Yeah. So a truncated part 2 because it's late, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very late. Yeah, we've done a double with Steve, which is good because lots to go at.
And lots more. And like you said, it's constantly developing, isn't it? This story, or however you want to describe it. So it's a brilliant, top tier guest.
Yeah,
Steve.
You can tell he's dedicated a lot of time to his passion.
Decades, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you people who've producers, you'll have to have your producer credits in abeyance till next week. We'll do the housekeeping and all that next week.
Yeah.
And, don't worry, we haven't forgot about you.
Nope.
And I think Matt's back next week, isn't he? Is he?
I think he is. I'm not here next
You're not here next week,
I'm
but
going
Matt
to watch
is.
Steel Eye Span.
Steel Eye Span. Is
Yeah.
that a Steely Dan tribute?
No,
band?
the like an old Maddie Pryor used to be the singer, really old, kind of 70s.
Who's she? Maddie.
She's a folk singer. She's dead now, but yeah, they do like All Around My Hat and Blackjack Davy and a few of the other kind of generic.
There's a word for
stuff.
those
Traditional
standards.
Is
what they're known as.
Yeah,
Yeah, like there are rock band standards.
there are.
There are, like Johnny Be Good.
There are definitely pub cover band standards.
Yeah, rock band. Any rock band in the world can play Johnny Be Good.
Yeah,
There's a 3-chord blues. Trick.
Yeah,
and most guitarists can play some sort of introduction to it, which is vaguely recognisable to the Chuck Berry thing. Yeah, They can, faff around something.
Yeah, just
so.
make it your own.
What else is there? Mustang Sally, maybe?
I fucking hate playing Mustang Sally. We've not done it for ages. I think I spat my dummy out once. Proud Mary, though, still do that.
Proud Mary's another standard.
Proud Mary. We do quite a bit of... what do we do?
Jumping Jack Flash might be a standard, you know?
Could be.
Of all the Stones songs, I think Jumping Jack Flash is probably a rock band standard.
Teenage Kicks is probably
getting
there as well.
I bet there's not many. I bet there's only about 10 rock
Like
band
classic,
standards.
Solid.
Like pretty much every rock band plays or has played or can play on a moment's notice.
Rush. Tom Sawyer.
I never got into prog rock. I mean, I suppose Pink Floyd fall into that, don't they?
Yeah.
But I never really got into Pink Floyd. I listened to Shine On You Crazy Diamond and Wish We Were Here. And, well, the most sort of, what would you call, the most sort of structurally conventional Pink Floyd songs that are actually songs.
No Sid Barrett solo stuff then for you?
No, I never got into him. No.
Got some vinyl.
I'm probably missing out, aren't I?
Well, no, I mean, you can't listen to everything. You can only listen to a very narrow section of all the music that's been produced in all of history.
Yeah, true.
So,
true that.
You do you. Everyone do you.
Yeah. All right then. Should we go?
Oh yeah. Let's go. It's been good. I won't see you next week, but
what date are we on? So next week will be the 20. Oh, so it's a barn raising next week with me and Matt then.
Barn raising.
So you'll be back first show of May. A new month, a new guest.
Yes.
And we shall be back. Me and Matt shall be back next week. Chat some shit.
Ugh.
I don't
Brilliant.
know what I'm going to talk about. No. All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep. Cheers. See you soon.
I'll upload a video again tomorrow or something because this stream has been it's been binned several times. But,
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Bye.
Have a nice week. Bye.